Alrighty, welcome everyone to the ECQ today. I'm Lou Scott Vargas here with Andrew Beckstrom, and we'll be covering all the matches today. Today will be played single elimination, best 2 out of 3 matches, and we've got a perennial top 64 competitor, ZDCH, that is Zach Hill, on Hulu Mother of Skies, and we're going to be watching Marvin the Imp on Found Flyers. BK, what you looking forward to watching today? You're also muted if that's relevant.
Oh, my bad. Well, things kicked off the right way. All right, yeah, I'm really excited for this tournament. We're going to be watching Expedition action, and as you mentioned, that's going to be a great match to start off the day. Both players, we've seen them in our top 64s before. They've got some innovative new decks for us, and we're going to see a lot of great players in action today. I'm excited. We've got some returning champions in the field, Sunnyvale and Nico Abba. They're going to be trying to get their second ECQ win of the season. And a lot of players who have some close misses. Notorious Ghp is one of our top ranked players. You might recall that they they got second place in the Expedition Spring Championship just 2 weeks ago. So they're looking to improve on their strong finish last time we had an Expedition tournament.
Yeah, I remember that, and it's funny. ZDCH has run varieties of Huru many times. More often Huru control, but I think it seems like he's got somewhat of a predilection for that faction pair.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, in the past we've seen him and Ghp go all the way up to Scourge or Frostome and their Huru control decks. This one's a new sort of take on the Huru Flyers archetype. And the big new addition is from Spire of the Shadow, the most recent set released to the game, around Mother of Skies, that 2-cost 1/4 flyer and primal. Whenever you play your first multi-faction unit each turn, you get a 1/2 Cloud Snake. How are they doing that? Well, they've got Aerialist Trainer, Forbidden Rider, Outcast, Archgriffin Patriarch, Vorlunk Core. So there's also a little bit of a mini curse theme going along with this list. We've got Perul's Choice, which can pull up Restrained action. That's that 6-cost legendary relic that can get you an extra unit at the end of each of your opponent's turns. And Kodash Sees All. At the start of each opponent's turn, you get a flyer with stats equal to the number of curses you have in play.
And it's a pretty good way to use kind of like to lean more on synergy than necessarily individual power for a lot of these cards.
Yeah, I think the thing that's really stands out about Zach's list is that it can play both offense and defense really well. When you've got an aggro sort of curse strategy, you can curse the enemies to slow down an aggressive force, but you can also use it to sort of knock things out of the air so you can keep pecking in against other mid-range and control decks.
So what do you think about the Found Flyers deck that he's going to be facing?
Yeah, so it's another sort of take on the heavy shadow archetype. We see a lot of the big shadow flyers we've come to expect. Aramat Mind Splinter, Karia First Reaper. And what they've done is they've found some tools by dipping into Primal that give them a little bit more lasting power. Sky Lookout allows them to invoke Primal if they play it and have a flyer in play. And then Uello's Sky Tactician is the real big ad. And I imagine it's going to do a lot to shore up Marvin the Imp's matchup against the fire decks in the format, of which there are plenty. Whenever you attack with a unit with flying, you get to play a 2/3 wolf. This goes with a 3/5 body for 4. You'll notice in this field today, we're going to see a lot of units with 5, 6 health. Those are at a premium with so many Jack Mercenary Hunters running around.
Yeah, when the critical point, is 5 or more, it's always much more interesting, I think, for kind of unit selection and what people end up playing than when the best removal is just like kill, unconditional kill spells. So having Jack kind of set the line where you really want to hit that 5th point of health is pretty interesting, because you get to see a bunch of cards see play that, Siege Breaker, that sort of thing that normally maybe don't see tons of play. But, like here, Marvin the Imp is running Marionette Cross, right? Like just a 3-cost 5/5, and that lines up pretty nicely against fire-based removal.
Absolutely. And then we see a couple copies of Pale Rider's Timepiece. So both of these decks Marvin the Imp and ZDCH's deck are both capable of going pretty big. This is going to be the matchup that we're going to kick the day off with. Marvin the Imp's going all the way up to Pale Rider's Timepiece. They have one copy of Wrath of Kyphus. And against ZDCH's a big curse action with Archgriffin Patriarch, there's going to be a lot of jockeying to see who can go just a little bit bigger in this matchup.
In general, it's much better to be slightly bigger than your opponent, since that's kind of how the cycle of life goes. When you've got the mid-range decks trying to be a little bigger than the aggro decks, and the control decks being just a little bit better than the mid-range decks, you don't want to be too many levels above or below your opponent.
For the rest of the field, we've got a bunch of cool decks in action. Obviously, we're going to see some Praxis, Aurelian Supplier, and Jack. They've been a huge force on the scene with the release of Shadow of the Spire. We're going to see that in action. The other big deck this weekend is Rakano Kira. I'm really excited to see that one in action. So the recently buffed Kira, that's Yodabyte's card, one of our most popular Eternal streamers. This 2-drop that he designed for the game was a 2/2 Injustice. And whenever it gets stats or skills for the turn, it keeps them permanently. So these Rakano decks are built around combining it with things like Wind Conjuring, Finest Hour, other sort of temporary effects. There's an Argenport Kira deck in the field that combines it with Spiteful Strike, get permanent lifesteal and quick draw into your Kira. So it's going to be cool to see those Kira decks in action. They're well represented in today's field.
Once again, stats are what people are looking for, and it's pretty interesting to see how all these decks are just looking to build their own 5/5s one way or another.
Yeah, then we've got a couple of players in our field who have decided they're going to go way big, and they're going to try to prey maybe potentially on the decks like the big Skycrag archetypes, like the bigger Shadow decks, and the Combre Relics decks. I'm looking at Gozu's list right now, and this is a deck built around Perilous Research, playing lots of acceleration relics like Pillar of Progress, Progress Stone, Ancestral Oasis, and then they're just going all the way up. Pit of Lenecta, Martyr's Change, Sword of the Sky King, Age-Worn Vestige, the biggest relics in the game, all in one deck, and hopefully they're going to be riding hard on the backs of the 4 Shenra Speaks decks to buy them some time against Elos and Thunder of Wings.
It's going pretty big. It doesn't get much bigger than that.
Definitely not. So as far as the tournament, our players are getting started right now. As we mentioned, this is single elimination, best of 3 matches. We've got 64 players. They battled through 28 games of qualifying matches on Friday and Saturday. The players with the 64 best records are here this morning. And each round will be starting off with one featured match. As soon as that match finishes, we'll hop on into the next one until the entire field is done, take a few minutes break, and just get started with the next round. So be a lot of nonstop action throughout the day. It should be a really fun time, and there's drops going on as well with our ECQ broadcast. So make sure you've got your Twitch and Eternal accounts connected if you want to receive some nice in-game loot for participating, being a great viewer, and hanging out and making the chat such a fun place that it's become known to be during these broadcasts.
Sweet, and it looks like the game is ready, so we'll be getting down there as soon as we can. Any early predictions as to who you think's going to win here?
Let's get started. So ZDCH has got a handful of great removal against the Shadow deck. Edict of Kodash and Turn to Seed are both match up fantastically against things like Ikaria, First Reaper, and Erebot.
Looking like potentially a more controlling role in this game, though. It's funny that Marvin the Imp also has got Wisdom of Elders, so both players are kind of ready to just sit there and draw cards and maybe try to answer opposing threats, though Marvin the Imp's a little bit heavy on the power there.
Yeah, Marvin the Imp is playing with Transpose this weekend. That's the Primal Market card, so I'll hopefully draw one of those in the near future and find something to do with the 5 more power they've got in hand.
Yeah, I mean, there are a variety of ways that you're protected from flood here, and Marvin's going to have to draw one of those pretty soon. So ZDCH certainly has the upper hand here, but it's kind of deciding how to sequence their cards.
Yeah, trying to decide if they want to fire off a Turn to Seed or an Edict of Kodash. Problem with using Turn to Seed sort of as your first removal effect is 5 turns will go by potentially, and the little seed will grow up before ZDCH can close out the game. Right now we see not close to doing so, but with that Vorlon Corp in hand, ZDCH does have one way to deal with the little seed. Wow, and ZDCH draws Mother of Skies. Pretty fantastic against the Permafrost and Marvin the Imp's hands, but ZDCH doesn't know that and might want to wait till a turn when they can play it and a multi-faction unit in the same turn. Yeah, we're going to see them do that.
Yeah, I mean, ZDCH is certainly not someone who's going to go for less value. So yes, that doesn't surprise me.
Permafrost for Marvin the Imp will lock down the Vorlon Corp. The Linrise Stranger comes down, and wow, a third Edict of Kodash for ZDCH. Will we see them just fire off a silence on the Linrise Stranger?
I mean, I see how much. I mean, when you have this many, I wouldn't be surprised if that's what ended up happening, and that is in fact what ZDCH is going to use it for.
Blightmoth for Marvin the Imp is pretty great against Mother of Skies. It can sort of help them catch up against if there's too many serpents in play, to see if they want to deploy it now or wait till maybe more flyers get on the board.
I don't know that Marvin really has the luxury of waiting too long, though. And they did, in fact, run that out forthwith.
So this looks like a pretty close game right now. ZDCH is going to get beat up by that Linrise Stranger quite a bit. Just a 4-5 after it's been silent.
Yeah, we were talking about stats, and this isn't really the matchup exactly for stats, but I mean, this is going to work out all right.
All right, what a gamble moment this might be for Marvin the Imp. They've picked up a Wrath of Kyphus. Both players will discard their hands, draw 7 cards if they fire it off.
Yeah, both players are also kind of out of gas at this point, so this isn't as one-sided as you might think it would be.
And I like Marvin the Imp's decision to not use it right now. I believe they are ahead on board, so it makes a good amount of sense to wait.
Ahead on board with a 4-5 no text, but yes. All right, here comes Wrath of Kyphus. And you know, the disadvantage for Marvin here is that ZDCH is really going to get first crack at playing all these cards.
The big advantage is that they had 3 more power. 9 power. Oh, wow.
Still, ZDCH is going to get to do plenty of action here. Back in for 1 there.
Interesting, and we're actually going to see Avagraft come down for DCH, and Avagraft, the Silent Linrise Stranger, locking out the Linrise Stranger in Marvin the Imp's hand. A heads-up play.
Yeah, that's going to work out very nicely for ZDCH, and now definitely taking more advantage of these 7 new cards. But now it's kind of Marvin the Imp's turn to get to run out looks like at least 3 solid plays this turn.
Yeah, my big concern for Marvin the Imp is none of these plays feel like they match up well against Mother of Skies, just pumping out extra 1/2s every turn. With no flyers for Marvin the Imp, that ULO is not going to do nearly as good of a job.
And ZDCH on pondering their options here. Have a couple proactive ways to kind of make attacks a little bit more enticing. But with all flyers, I mean, when you're behind, it kind of doesn't matter if you've got a bunch of big ground units, because the person with the flyers gets to dictate how the race goes a lot more efficiently.
Sure. Oh, yeah, we're going to see all the flyers come in. And I think it'll be interesting for ZDCH. When does the Patriarch come down? They've got even more curses they can deploy first with the Forbidden Rider Outcast and the Permafrost. Yeah, we're gonna.
It's funny. I would think that you wouldn't need to get max value here, but ZDCH is going for it anyway. You just drew 7 cards like 2 turns ago, but nope. You still got to get every single bit of value out of your cards as possible.
Just another banner for Marvin the Imp, and really just did not get the kind of cards that work well against ZDCH off of that. Off of their Wrath of Kyphus. They didn't get any Akarias. All of the Aramats have been turned to seed. No Blight Moths.
Yeah, that particular gamble did not work out great for Marvin the Imp. I think that given their position, it's understandable why they went for it, but as a result, you know, ZDCH was able to not only use the cards better, but chain card draw into more of them.
The Devouring Shadow for Marvin the Imp probably spells the end of game number 1. They'll be able to kill one of these big flyers, but without a lethal attack of their own, I believe they're going to fall here.
In come some attackers and maybe hoping ZDCH is not even in a position where they could have blocked enough to make those attackers bad or to not have lethal on the backswing.
ZDCH just thinking, is there any chance I'm supposed to chump here? Is there any weird sequence of cards? You know they've got a lethal Air Force coming in.
And boom, game 1 goes to ZDCH.
So a big theme of that game for me was sort of players just making the best of their removal options. ZDCH got put into a spot where all they could do was Edict of Kodash, a Linrai Stranger, and deal with the consequences of that. At one point, Marvin the Imp had some Permafrost lined up against a Mother of Skies. That's a pretty awkward spot to be in. In the end, ZDCH's ability to just pump out flyers was just too much for Marvin the Imp to handle.
And that's kind of what ZDCH's game plan is. But Marvin the Imp was, I think a lot of their cards also work better if they're able to just have some units in play, right? They never got anything into play, and as a result, really never got anything off the ground.
Yeah. So moving into game 2 of this best 2 of 3, we'll have Marvin of the Imp on the play first. And for Marvin the Imp, they'll be hoping they can get off to a bit of a faster start. They have, while I do have some controlling Felon elements. If they can get things rolling with an early Marionette Cross or a Uello, they can really get ahead in the game.
Marvin the Imp looking at a hand with 2 depleted seats. And yeah, they are in fact redrawing, as did ZDCH. Into not the most exciting hand, but Marionette Cross plus a removal spell plus a transpose is not the worst place to be.
Definitely not. And that transpose could be pretty great against some of ZDCH's sort of first relics, like the Avagrafton they have right now.
Forced to run out an emblem, not in an ideal situation because Marvin really wasn't able to use the emblem for any value, but needed the 3rd Shadow Pip in order to play that Marionette Cross.
And ZDCH is just going to find their 2nd Permafrost since they haven't played one yet. They're good to do so. And Permafrost is a pretty great answer against Marionette Cross. Just one, there's no sort of additional awesome abilities that you have to worry about while that bit is stunned. And interesting, Marvin the Imp throws back the Wrath of Kyphus, picks up a random power, had the option to just play Impending Doom, but they really wanted to start making progress towards getting Akari down. And with her 6 Shadow Pips, once you play a Primal Sigil,
yeah,
that's kind of a dud for that one.
Yeah, you were definitely taking the time off then if you're going to do that. neither player really getting anything going at this point.
Not as of yet. And we'll see Marvin the Imp throw down Impending Doom. 5/5 flyer. That's a really great one to permafrost. If
yeah, I was just going to say, that's about the juiciest permafrost target you can imagine.
And yeah, we're seeing the benefits of ZDCH, a lot of their interaction being versus. There's already 2 permafrost down. There's an Avagraft in Hannah with an Archgriffin Patriarch. Marvin the Imp doesn't find a way to interact with that Archgriffin Patriarch, it's going to just gain ZDCH a ton of card advantage.
And the way these games are going, card advantage is a huge part of it. You're neither player is closing the game out anytime soon.
We see a transpose for Marvin the Imp, and they go and they pick up Feeding Time. It's getting more removal.
But
if I'm Marvin the Imp, I wish I had a form of card advantage so I could keep up with what ZDH's curse package can do.
Yeah, getting more removal against these units that are drawing 2, 3 more cards when you play them doesn't really line up all that well.
All right, so here we see Ikaria First Reaper. And summon kill a unit is going to be met with a Perul's Choice, giving Unseen Commando +1/+1 in Aegis.
Another good exchange for ZDCH here.
A turn to Seed, the perfect answer against Ikaria, transforming her into a little seed. Not that ZDCH had any spells to discard anyway, but it does mean that all future Ikarias will also be just little seeds.
And at this point in the game, if I'm ZDCH, I'm really not that worried about that seed. Like he's got enough good stuff going on that I think that it's unlikely to get to the point where the seed actually turns into a relevant threat.
All right, mine's a High Sky Lookout. It's got summon if you have a unit with flying, invoke primal. That permafrosted Impending Doom certainly counts. Picks up a Quicksilver Mirror for Marvin the Imp. That's a really strong form of card advantage if Marvin the Imp can manage to stick that one and has enough time here.
Well, time isn't what Marvin the Imp's missing. It's primal. Can't actually deploy the mirror yet.
That's pretty funny. And they don't have the most primal in their deck. They are just doing just the bare minimum with their banners and seats and 2 primal sigils to try to be able to play cards like High Sky Lookout and ULO.
Wisdom of the Elders Marionette Cross team up is not a common one. I mean, look at the 2 cards Marvin the Imp can: Devouring Shadow and Quicksilver Mirror. Those cards, they've got some requirements.
ZDCH, they're going to throw down an Avagraft to lock out, I assume, that High Sky Lookout. Since it's a corrupted unit, it'll leave a shade of itself behind. And all right, Marvin the Imp hits a Felon Banner, and we are. How much of a problem is this going to be for ZDCH? A copy of maybe Impending Doom every turn or Marionette Cross?
Yeah, that actually looks like something that could steal this game, because just persistent advantage of that sort is something ZDCH is not really that set up to deal with. Still, drawing 3 after 4/4 flyer is a good start.
Will ZDCH be able to keep up with the free units Marvin the Imp's going to get every turn?
My estimation is probably yes, but it's certainly no guarantee.
All right, that Linrise Stranger, copying Linrise Strangers every turn sounds amazing.
Yeah, that is a pretty big threat. These Impending Dooms are clocking Marvin Imp a little bit. ZDCH is really doesn't have anything in play that's accomplishing anything. So that mirror looked like a long shot, but it actually looks like it's going to work out.
So ZDCH could go for 2 units here, or they could go for a Wisdom of Elders and try to find something to deal that Linrise Stranger before it starts getting copied.
Besides turn to seed, there's not a whole lot. I guess Edict of Kodash can actually make it so copying it is less good, but still, DCH isn't flush with ways to actually remove something from the board.
And we have to be coming up on turn number 5 since Akaria was turned into Little Seed. That's going to grow up into a 5-7 overwhelm pretty soon here. If not,
yeah, I guess I take back what I said about this game not going in the seed direction. The mirror has drawn things out to where ZDCH actually is going to have to deal with that as well.
ZDCH takes the gamble, plays Wisdom of Elders, and does not find the interaction that they were hoping for.
So here comes a Nesting Raven, and I guess maybe a Forbidden Rider Outcast. Oh, no, looks like Aerialist Trainer. Trying to get another card here, but there's the Edict of Kodash.
Power short of getting to silence the first Linrise Stranger. Now that there's 2 of them, this is going to be a huge issue. 2 Linrise Strangers come down, both proccing each other, stunning 2 more units.
And then the ZDCH is under almost insurmountable pressure at this point. I guess you give the mirror a few turns without it being able to interact with it, and you are going to lose pretty badly.
Sunken Tower for even more copy outs. This 3-cost relic can copy units and give both unit and the copy reckless. The biggest upside, but it'll allow Marvin the Imp to get even more Linrise Strangers in play.
Stop! He's already dead.
All right, well, these Impending Dooms keep doing work on Marvin the Imp's health total. If ZDCH can survive long enough, eventually an Overwhelm Killer attack from Borland Corp would get ZDCH over the finish line.
Close, but still far enough away that I don't think it's quite going to make it.
Problem for ZDCH is the Edict of Kodash be best used on an Impending Doom right now, but that's not the unit he really wants to kill because of that drawback of the damage dealing itself, Marvin the Imp each turn.
All right, taking out the seed here before it sprouts, and this is knocking Marvin the Imp down to 7, but 7 is still 3 turns of double Impending Doom, and I don't think Marvin the Imp's going to need 3 turns to close out this game.
Doesn't look that way. We see the 3rd Linrise Stranger come down thanks to the Quicksilver Mirror evoked earlier off the High Sky Lookout.
All 3 of them trigger. All of them are locking things down, and here comes Sunken Tower making a 4th copy just for kicks.
This game was entirely won thanks to the High Sky Lookout for Marvin the Imp. Invoked and found both the Sunken Tower and the Quicksilver Mirror.
Sunken Tower I don't think mattered, but yes, the mirror was surely the only reason Marvin the Imp is dominating this game. And I mean that's what Invoke does, is it lets you kind of experience play with cards which you normally wouldn't put in your deck, and the mirror did some really good work that game.
Marvin the Imp
really on the wall.
Yeah, Marvin the Imp really looked like they were on the brink of their tournament ending early, and instead they managed to turn it around and force a game 3.
Yeah, you gotta love the Invoke. I think it adds a lot of texture to the metagame. To steal one of P. Sully's favorite words.
Really, we didn't see what Marvin the Imp's options were, but it was quite a gamble when they took the Quicksilver Mirror. They, as you mentioned, they didn't have the 3rd Primal Influence at the time, but they probably went through the evaluations and noted they needed something that powerful to get back. ZDCH was up 4 or 5 cards on them at that point. They took the gamble and it paid off.
All right. We've got game 3 here. ZDCH is going to redraw, and I suppose Marvin is not. Oh no, Marvin is. They're both redrawing. Oh, Well, there's your mono shadow deck. Double Ikaria, Devouring Shadow, and 4 power, all shadow. So I guess that's the plan. This is the kind of hand where ZDCH wants to come out quickly, but Devouring Shadow does a good job of stopping that. And wow, Aramot was a great pickup there.
And for ZDCH, Mother of Skies is also a great pickup.
Oh yeah, a solid 2-drop, and ZDCH has a 1-turn window to draw a multi-faction card and get full value. Oh wow, Aerialist Trainer has to be just about the best card that ZDCH could have drawn there.
Yeah, the fantastic thing about it too is that +1/+1 from the mentor bonus make it that's going to take even more shadow influence from that Devouring Shadow to kill their Mother of Skies. Absolutely phenomenal top decks by ZDCH in the early going.
I mean, ZDCH's turn 2 into turn 3 was insane. Exactly how you draw it up, and neither card was in the opening hand. But yeah, this is going to work out really nicely because now Devouring Shadow doesn't even really remove the threat, and ZDCH can start throwing out Unseen Commandos here into Warlock Core, and this is going to be tough for Marvin, but Ikaria does a good job of cleanup, so we'll see how that ends up working out.
Interesting. Oh wow, what a heads-up play by ZDCH. Warlock Core is a 4/2 killer overwhelm. When it killer attacks Aramot, it gets a +1/+1 bonus due to having 2 skills from Unseen Commando. That gets it up to a 5/3, and since it's invulnerable to damage on your turn, it took out Aramot.
I mean, and this is we're just oh wow, another Edict. That's going to end the game. The game was already in a really bad place for Marvin the Imp, but Edict into Unseen Commando. This is actually like 1 short of lethal, something like that.
Good math, Luis. That was pretty fast, but Marvin the Imp has seen enough. He didn't even get to play the 2 Ikarias that were in their opening draw, and ZDCH wins and advances to the top 32.
I mean, ZDCH, that's what the deck is trying to do. Just curve out these like powerful synergistic cards. The combo between Unseen Commando and Warlock Core is incredible, and clearly exactly how ZDCH planned for games to go. So that was really ZDCH's deck doing their thing. And even though Marvin ended up having a kind of slow draw, had Marvin had a 2-drop to play in that game, I don't know how big of a difference that would have made against that onslaught.
All right, so we're going to check out Collector and the Rock here in a moment. They're in game 3 of their match. Rock is one of the players who's brought Edge of Uprising, Kindling Carver, Mother of Skies, Aurelian Supplier. So we're looking at a Firetime Primal, an Instinct Tokens deck, and let's hop on down to the action here in game 3.
Genève Valleys instead of Genève Peaks.
Very clever, Luis.
Look, they don't pay me the medium bucks not to make great jokes.
And Collector is on what some players in the community have dubbed Chonky Skycrag.
Yeah, I was gonna go with thick Skycrag myself, but same sort of deal. And you know what? I thought we had our fill of Kindling Carvers a couple weeks ago, but I like how the Rock has reformatted this deck and adapted to the metagame changes and the balance changes, and still looks like assembling a pretty threatening force.
The Rock, funny enough, drew into a cost-reduced little seed. Something got turned to seed last turn.
No reason not to play it.
And Collector could just throw down a big ol' Siege Breaker, or they could start with Blazing Salvoing some Kindling Carvers, and I think we're going to see them go that direction.
The Kindling Carver and themselves, and then swap into a Lightning Storm, which the Rock, I'm sure, is aware of. One of the skills in these events is perusing your opponent's deck list and kind of figuring out, hey, what could they have gotten off that? And in this particular case, it seems pretty apparent that Lightning Storm is going to be one of the top selections.
The Rock figuring things out. Otto plays a multi-faction Totepup that's summoned, so that's a good combo with Mother of Skies. They could go for both of those in the same turn. But if you're the Rock, this isn't amazing. You don't have anything sort of in hand that's fantastic. Jack's not even playable since the Rock doesn't have 3 fire pips at the moment.
The Rock might be cooking some things, but it's not a Jack, not with this current faction influence here. So here's the big question. Next turn is the Collector. If they don't draw power, going to go for Wisdom before the Lightning Storm? I know what I'd do.
I think if you're Collector, you can wait a little bit here. Potentially, if you're Collector, you might want to just turn to seed that Mother of Skies first.
Now that the Torta Pioneer has hit the board, I think that prompts action on a little bit of faster schedule. But here comes the Wisdom. And a no-go. The Collector choosing not to Blazing Salvo, I think going for the clean sweep. Blazing Salvo on the Mother and then Lightning Storm.
Even more Katos showing up for the Rock. Although one good thing about making lots of tokens and getting them swept away underneath a Lightning Storm is it means future Katos are just a little bit closer to bringing along their 88 Gladiator Brawler. The most recent balance patch changing the requirements for Kato from 10 units to 12 units. So got to work a little bit harder to bring the big boys into the arena.
And even though the Collector is playing a Skycrack deck, they still have some decent answers against those 8/8s. So certainly the Rock is not going to be adding more to the board here. There's no need to do that. And this is going to prompt a Lightning Storm on this turn.
Wow, yeah. Pretty heads-up play by the Rock, not playing Kato, recognizing how likely an incoming Lightning Storm was.
Max value, picking up an Island's Favor off the Blazing Salvo to then hit the power drop to then play the Lightning Storm.
And this Aegis is potentially going to be fantastic in the future if the Rock can ever play their Jack.
Which they can.
Funny enough, the Collector with a Jack in their hand is also missing fire influence for their Jack. Steep requirement. It's a powerful card, but you've got to be pretty focused on fire to make it happen.
I'm currently 7 units, now 8 with that shadow going away.
The Collector finds their third fire influence in the form of a Seek power.
Ooh. Turning the Heralds all to seed, and this is really stripping the Rock of their offensive capabilities here. That Aegis also coming in big. I mean, Jack wouldn't have finished off the Collector, but still, there's a big difference between 5 and 1, and having that Aegis there is a nice fallback.
Never feels good to make no plays, but if you're the Rock, it's potentially worthwhile to just wait on this Jack. We'll see where they go. Hope it's coming down.
They just get seared in turn, and then now Collector is on a bunch of gigantic things, and gonna start with a Jack, pitching one of those Siege Breakers to just take out both seeds here to really prevent those from turning into any sort of threats. Turn to Seed, on the other hand, though, is gonna take care of both Jacks. So neither player has much in play, but the Collector has 2, chunky Skycrag units in hand, and they're at a huge advantage as a result.
Right, both little seeds come down, and so does Linrise Stranger. Collector is trying to push their board advantage, and with nothing coming off the top for the Rock, this is going to be a fantastic setup for Collector.
Yeah, Linrise Stranger comes in, makes it 3/3, and then we're going to see a Siege Breaker come down. And, the Rock drawing another little seed. That is not where you want to be.
Rockdale still has some health points to work with. They're at 21, so it's going to take Collector a few more turns. I do not like how things are going for the Rock right now. They play so much better ahead than they do behind.
Just every individual card in the Rock's deck is, I would assume, quite a bit weaker than the individual cards in the Collector's deck, because the Collector is trading much less on synergy than just playing Siege Breaker, playing Linrise Stranger, and just having these cards stand on their own, whereas the Rock has a bunch of cards which work with their other cards, and currently they have nothing going on.
The worst part for the Rock is that if they can't figure out a way to get back into this game really fast, little seats for Collector will take over in a couple more turns.
I don't think that those couple more turns are going to happen.
I'm just saying, if they cleaned up the board a little bit, you'd be behind to the seeds. All right, so another giant attack for Collector. Rock's going to need a ton of help here. I don't think Permafrost is nearly enough.
No. I mean, you Permafrost presumably the Stranger to stop the steady stream of 3/3s, but even then, you're still just dying to the Siegebreaker and the 2 3/3s and the little seeds. And Collector has a Permafrost in hand, and Collector has the first draw step. So, yeah, I would say that Collector is ahead here. This is where if I had Corey in the booth, I would say even BK could tell that Collector's ahead, but I'm not going to say that with you in the booth here.
That's awesome. Respect. That's great, yeah. Korgoth Vice Cap Trader.
7/8. Whoa. This deck's living up to its name.
And the Rock has to decide how much they want to chump with. Overwhelm on the Siegebreaker, making this not the most effective block.
Well, what's the game count in this match?
This is game 3, so for the Rock, they're fighting for their tournament life right now. If they lose this game, they're done.
Yeah, I was getting the read that the Rock would. I think a lot of players in the Rock's position would have conceded already, but if this is game 3, you got to battle to the bitter end.
We'll see max blocks just soaking up as much health as possible. With a Torgoth coming down, a Permafrost in hand, a Sodi spell shape for the Rock. Spells Doom.
A little bit of Sodi, and the Collector advances to the top 32. Not their first rodeo nor their last, but we'll see what else we have on deck here in just a second.
All right, sounds like we're going to check out Notorious Ghp versus Ant-Man next. Notorious Ghp is playing Big Sky Craig, and Ant-Man is also on Big Sky Craig, so we got a little bit of a mirror match in the early going. Spitflame Draconis, Brood of Aramut, and Eject for Notorious Ghp up against just some removal that's really poorly positioned for Ant-Man. We're going to see him take out a Spitflame Draconis, go to 1. A Blazing Salvo in hand is a fitting way to
blow himself off. Yeah, I would say Charge Chain Flail is not what you want against 5/5s and 6/6s and whatnot.
All right, so that was game 2 with Notorious Ghp up a game. That means they win the match. The runners-up from the Expedition Spring Championship is one step closer to winning the Expedition ECQ this weekend. So we'll check out the field, see what more action we've got going on for y'all. Big Sky Craig definitely was destined to be the winner in that mirror, but we've now seen 2 players advance to our top 32. A pretty brisk round for us is over. That's it for round 1. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we will be back in just a few minutes with top 32 action here.
All right, everybody, welcome back to our ECQ here today. We're now on our top 32. I'm Corey Burkhart, joined here by Luis Scott Vargas. And before we jump into the round, we just wanted to share with you our Shadow of the Spire Legendary Bundle. It's still in the store. It's still available. It's $45, and with it, you get premium and non-premium copies of all 23 of the cards in the set. You get that fantastic Argenport playmat, which I don't think we've seen yet on display today, but if you've followed either of our spring championships the last 2 weekends, you've gotten to see that in action, but hopefully that changes here in the next few rounds.
I think we saw it for like 5 seconds when Notorious when the Notorious Ghp defeated Ant-Man.
Gotcha. Notorious Ghp did put on fantastic work with that 2 weekends ago for us. And of course, you get the Shadow of the Spire card back, the Ikari First Reaper avatar, and on top of all of that, you'll get a box of Echoes of Eternity. So, fantastic bundle there. Highly recommend checking it out, if not for anything else, but for that amazing playmat. Luis, talk to me. Who are we going to be watching this round?
Lucid Iguana versus Gilead. We've got Lucid Iguana on Ambition with a kind of mono shadow base versus Praxis, which Praxis is kind of like the level 1 deck where a lot of people pivoted to it after the balance changes, because you still get to use Jack and Aurelian Supplier, which are 2 of the strongest cards in the format right now. But you did, instead of the really heavy token sacrifice synergies that we saw 2 weeks ago, lead to more towards a generic aggro base.
Awesome. It sounds like our players are ready, so let's head down to the action. All right, welcome here to game number 1 between the Lucid Iguana and Gilead. You got Lucid Iguana at the top of your screen playing a... Yep, that is in fact a 3-faction Marionette cross deck. It is a Mono Shadow Ambition base, so Lucid Iguana taking advantage of one of the most recent draft pack updates that added Display of Ambition to the Expedition format, picking up a variety of different options here for their deck this weekend. And as Luis was sharing with us, Gilead sort of playing the Praxis, bit of a sub-theme to Strangers, which was one of the big pickups here from Shadow of the Spire.
I see 3 different Strangers in hand, so Gilead's going to get some advantage out of those. Though, you know, the most recent cycle of Strangers, the Strange Gladiator and whatnot, these cards are kind of intentionally aimed at not needing a ton of Strangers to do their thing. They are intrinsically powerful, but of course, like every Stranger, they do combine nicely with others.
Yeah, we might see Gilead, starting off the chain here as the Strange Gladiator is going to come down, buff up each of those units in their hand. You see those stats jumping up, and with 2 more Strangers ready to come, I mean, you know, Toto Pioneer could be a massive threat on its own, in addition to pumping up its friends.
And, you know, picking up a Gar Master Sandmage is not a bad place to be either. Marionette Cross still is pretty large, but not insurmountable here.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how that Gar can end up matching up against Lucid Iguana's powerful units here. See if Gilead could line up a way to silence them out of the Iguana's hand while they're trying to get all their influences in order. But for right now, we're just going to see Gilead play that Ruthless Stranger, buff up each of the units in their hand.
And did not actually follow it up with the Covetous Stranger.
Yeah, interesting. Looks like trying to make
benefit
here out of the... Yep.
Yeah, just taking advantage of the synergy between emblems and the Toto Pioneer to actually get 2 additional power, because you draw the unit, so the Ash Elemental. So pretty strong sequencing there. You had to give up the buff on the Toto Pioneer, but you still got it on Gar, and that is a good way to sequence and play a ton of stuff. Though Cast into Shadow is going to be a pretty nice little way to clean this board up.
Yeah, massive swing there for the Lucid Iguana, able to pick off 2 of those mono fire units, taking out the large Covetous Stranger that could brawl into the Marionette, and taking out the Toto Pioneer that could keep growing these units in size. Risky business here for the Lucid Iguana, though. Now getting the second Marionette down because they're worried about Gilead going wide past them.
The danger, though, if Gilead can pick up a way to kill 1 cross, boom.
There you go. Finds a power, activates the Strange Gladiator, blow up the enemy relic, And killing the relic kills the other marionette because it sacrifices all of the marionettes, causing all the relics to die. And now, Gilead free reign, swinging through.
And it's possible that Lucid Iguana just thought they couldn't beat that play regardless, so they might as well not play into it. It's not like having a marionette cross in their hand that they would play and have the same fate occur next turn would really accomplish much. So marionette cross does have a drawback. It's not just a 3-cost 5/5, and that drawback on full display here in this game.
Lucid Iguana really needing an Akari at first Reaper there. Does manage to find a Blight Moth, which will come down, shrink a couple of the strangers before it gets silenced by Gar. But I think because of this 5/4 Ash Elemental, I think that's all she wrote for the Lucid Iguana here in game number 1.
And even without the Ash Elemental, it was going to be really hard for Lucid Iguana to come back into that game. Turns out strangers have a lot of text.
Yeah, really putting on the full display there from the Strange Gladiator, like just the ability to, buff up all their units in their hand, have them be able to attack and maneuver in particular ways around the one big threat that the Lucid Iguana was able to produce. And then all the while still has the activated ability to just blow up an enemy relic, and that seemed like the absolute perfect spot for it, all things considered.
Yeah, when your powerful card that you're playing for maybe one of its abilities gets to use its secondary ability, then you feel pretty good about it.
All right, sounds like the Lucid Iguana going back to the drawing board here, going to see what they can change up with their strategy and their approach here to this matchup, see if they can make a comeback here. They're down a game, they're not out just yet.
I think their draw wasn't so bad. They had 2-cost removal on 2 into Marionette Cross, into Casting a Shadow into Marionette Cross, but it just turned out the Cross's drawback was just a bit too much in that particular game.
Yeah, it definitely looked like one of those spots where a 5/5 is exactly what you would normally want against the Praxis strategy, but the variety of Praxis that Gilead brought, bringing the Stranger synergies, but then having that activated ability to blow up the Marionette, really actually caused the 5/5 to backfire.
Ooh, Thunder of Wings is going to make an appearance here on turn 3, most likely.
Yeah, Gilead here with a pretty quick start. Ruthless Stranger, triple Verret to go with their Thunder of Wings. But these Blight Moths,
pretty advantageous play though, just picking off that Stranger.
Yeah, though the one thing that Gilead's Fire Strangers do have sort of a weakness here is they are pretty weak to Blight Moth. Many of them having 1 health can fall pretty quickly, and this looks like a great start here for Lucid Iguana. Blight Moth sticking around, taking out the first Stranger, Devouring Shadows here, taking out the first Verret.
And that was a kind of inefficient turn, and if Gilead doesn't drop power, they're just on 1 play per turn for a while, which isn't really where you want to be. Still, Lucid Iguana is not really putting any pressure on. They have all these Blight Moths, but they're not really attacking Gilead. They're just getting slight amounts of value here.
And now they're literally not attacking Gilead at all. Both Blight Moths staying home.
Really don't want Verret to make any progress over there.
So we see an emblem picked up here for Gilead. They're going to play that out. And now, as you were speaking to, Luis, the ability to play 2 of these Strangers this turn. See both a 3rd Verret and the Magnificent Stranger join the fray. And now things are starting to look a little tricky here for the Lucid Iguana. You don't have the ability to cast into Shadow and take out 2 of these Strangers. You've got 2 Factionless units and a Time unit here. And the Condemn, you're going to have to pair possibly 2 Blight Moths here into a block to take out a big Verret with that, if that's what your plan is.
Just need something large, basically. There, and this Thunder of Wings is going to put on some fairly solid pressure, I think. At this point, just Gilead was trying to avoid trading any cards for a Blight Moth, but at this point, just I'm going to have to give something up. So no reason not to just go for it now.
Ooh, an interesting. Gilead not biting their Blazing Salvo, wanting to hold on to this Covetous Stranger in their hand. She's just let the dragon trade off with the 2 Blight Moss, and now we'll see if the Iguana, yep, just gonna fire off the first Blight Moss shade here. Shrink up all 3 of these strangers. And then, having drawn that 6th power now, can use the 2nd one, and now none of these strangers are able to attack to enable the Covetous Stranger.
That is pretty funny, since Covetous Stranger with 2 strangers on board usually works out pretty nicely.
Yeah, the usual exchange is play Covetous Stranger, immediately get my treasure trove, but here it's play Covetous Stranger, get it condemned here. And Loose Iguana now with the big swing going to be able to get into their market, and ooh, that's a nice little pickup there. A Headhunter being able to toss out wanted posters, help the Iguana here refuel on cards. So how does Gilead catch up here with what the Iguana's got going on?
Start by searing, I suppose, and then getting an Ash Elemental, and then at some point maybe being able to use that Blazing Salvo for value.
So
here comes the Headhunter.
Yeah, and it looks like we're going to see that just immediately cashed in here for a wanted poster, and likely a Defile to follow up, try to draw 2 cards.
This is going to give Lucid Iguana a lot more action to work with.
Yeah, that Marionette Cross looks a lot better this game without a Strange Gladiator in play, and unfortunately for Gilead, just another power card here off the top. But again, the positive thing here for Gilead, they're not being pressured very quickly. Lucid Iguana's deck just doesn't really close the door that quickly without Ikaria in play or several units in their void that they can pick up with Display of Ambition and try to snowball ahead. Right now, Gilead still has a bunch of synergy pieces in play with these strangers. If they can find a Ruthless Stranger or a Strange Gladiator, try to pick apart, you know, Lucid Iguana's single unit and this board state, Gilead can push right back ahead in this game.
And Gilead is not lacking too much to get back into this, but every turn that goes on at this point is favoring Lucid Iguana by a decent amount.
Great pickup there for Lucid Iguana and Aramon here off the top. That's going to help close the door real quickly. It's a bit painful, but we are going to see Gilead here fire off this Blazing Salvo. Ooh, nice pickup there, getting an Unmake out of their market. Able to use that Seer, finish off Aramon, and now they have the choice of playing their Sigil in hand, and they could unmake this Marionette Cross.
With that, still, Lucid Iguana is sitting on 3 different removal spells in hand. Granted, Vara's Favor is not the biggest of them, but still has plenty of ways to stop Gilead from really putting any pressure on. And as the game goes on, Lucid Iguana's cards are more powerful.
Yeah, we do see that Vara's Favor take out the last remaining stranger. Just Lucid Iguana not wanting to let Gilead combine any of these synergies, as we do see that Ruthless Stranger come down. Would have been able to attack from the Magnificent Stranger. Interesting, and not choosing to use the Devouring Shadows or the Cast into Shadow there on their own turn. Just going to choose to take the 2 here, not afraid of a Covetous Stranger off the top, and one of the heavy hitters here from Shadows of the Spire. We see Ikaria First Reaper come down, takes out the Ruthless Stranger.
Not only does it, of course, eat one of Gilead's units, but as a 5/5 flyer is going to be very difficult to deal with and put Gilead on a 2-turn clock. So they're not even in a spot where they're worried about attacking the opponent.
Not wanting to take any risks here, Lucid Iguana just going to take out Milos instead of deploying Damara, Death Saboteur. Nope, still going to deploy that also, and Wonder if there's anything out of Gilead's market that they could steal and finish off the game right there, but Gilead sees the running on the wall, just going to pack it in. We're going to see game number 3.
What the Ambition decks are looking to do.
Force game 3.
Well, I more meant just play a bunch of removal spells than play bigger units than what the opponent has.
The tried and true strategy for our Ambition players is we see the Lucid Iguana take down game number 2 with that Ikaria. Yeah, overall just a totally different game there, having the ability to, you know, not be reliant on one defensive piece that Gilead had the ability to pick apart. The sort of curve of Blightmoth on your Ruthless Stranger really changed the whole pacing of the game, it felt like.
We also saw Gilead go play a 2-drop, play a 2-drop, play a 2-drop, play a 3-drop, play a 2-drop. Whereas game 1, Gilead went play a 3-drop, next turn play 7 power worth of cards thanks to the Total Pioneer.
All right, here we go. Game number 3. Gilead on the bottom of your screen going to be starting us off with their Praxis Strangers deck. Lucid Iguana at the top of the screen here, and bit of a sketchy hand if you're in Lucid Iguana's seat.
The double Ikaria with a Fire Sigil in hand is not really optimal. I would not say.
A really nice start here from Gilead. We see them start off with a Magnificent Stranger, and they've got plethora of options here with the Strange Glider and the Milos Rebel Bomber for next turn. Just going to choose to use their second turn defiling that Magnificent Stranger away. And these Strange Gladiators looked awesome for Gilead.
Yeah, Strange Gladiator has really delivered. I mean, it killed 2 5/5s in the first game. Lucid Iguana has hit a steady stream of power here, which is pretty nice for them.
If you're Gilead here, going to start off with the Aurelian Supplier. More units in play, fewer cards in hand. Pick up 2 more cards. Not the greatest pickups for them, though.
No, at this point, Gilead, the emblem's going to help, but is a bit flooded here, despite being ahead on board.
Yeah, it does set them up for a really amazing next turn, however, thanks to that Toto Pioneer. So Lucid Iguana picking up another Shadow Sigil there. Does enable their Devouring Shadows here to take out that Strange Gladiator.
Another power, so sure, Gilead's going to get to play both their cards this turn, but, well, I guess if Lucid Iguana is out of good removal spells, that this could help.
Yeah, and Gilead has the option here. It's a matter of, is this the turn that you take the explosive turn with Toto Pioneer, Emblem, and Milos? Gilead says no, wants to hold off and hide that Toto Pioneer for at least one more turn, maybe use it to push through a Marionette or another large unit here. As Milos does distribute a Firebomb to the Lucid Iguana, puts that away in their deck for later threats.
Condemn, no good targets, had to go straight to the face here.
Open Contract, though, a nice little market option for the Lucid Iguana. Going to take out that Milos. Every unit in Gilead's deck now has had its cost reduced by 1. The Blightmoth is going to come down and shrink the supplier a little bit.
Here comes another supplier here, and supplier is how these decks stay in business. You know, it is how you end up, despite having quite a few lands here, end up in a good spot.
2 great pickups for Gilead there. This Blazing Salvo, can trade in this excess Fire Sigil.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, and a Phoenix Stone also.
Phoenix,
this is going to
Phoenix Stone is excellent
damage
at pressuring these kind of like shadow control decks, and at this point, Lucid Iguana, they're falling far behind, and they're not very close to Ikaria. Ikaria is the kind of card they would need to stabilize here. I don't think that another Blightmoth or a Fear Tracker is really going to get them out of this.
Cast into Shadow, though, is a nice little pickup there. Can the Lucid Iguana make anything happen with that? Gilead just going to play it a little slow here, see if they can silence any units in the enemy hand by shifting Gar, Master Sand Mage. Go for a lethal attack here. Toto Pioneer is going to fall to the Cast into Shadow. But unfortunately for Lucid Iguana, 4 damage is going to push through for these 2 Aurelian suppliers, and with Gilead having that Seer in hand, they're going to be able to finish this off and advance to our top 16.
Yeah. It is funny, you know, single limit, it means your day can be short, but it also means 2 wins and you've already, you know, advanced past 3/4 of the field.
Yeah, just 3/4 of the field here today and advance past the hundreds and thousands. You know, first 28 matches on Friday and Saturday. So congrats to Gilead advancing to the top 16. And let's take a look at who we have joining us now. We've got Doc28 and Handagoat88. They are going into game number 3 right now.
All right.
Doc28 looks to be on a Destruction Vox sort of strategy here.
This looks like the spiritual successor to the Destruction decks we saw a couple weeks ago.
Definitely, and Handagoat on a similar looking Praxis Strangers deck to what we just saw out of Gilead. So this Verid about to achieve mastery, gonna brawl in here with the defenses of that Blazing Salvo in hand.
I wonder who has the advantage here when you have the more synergy-driven deck with the Destruction deck, where the still synergy-driven but slightly less so Praxis Strangers deck, where each of their cards does a little bit more on its own.
I'm wondering if Doc28 is actually playing the Strange Gladiator in their starting deck here this weekend. Yeah, Doc28 has 4 copies of Strange Gladiator also in their deck, taking a bit of a stranger theme here on their destruction deck. Just really valuing getting their units out of size here of these Kairos' Choice, Blazing Salvos, Seers, Jeks. Speaking of, Jack's gonna join the fray here, try to eliminate that Toto Pioneer.
And Nug Handagoat for a cool 4 points of damage while at it.
And a heads up play there by Handagoat, just finishing off the Jack before it deals its damage. Therefore, it's not in play. No treasure troves picked up, and Handagoat racing back here, hitting with Milos, dropping Doc28 down to 8 points of health.
It is funny when these players are kind of like racing past each other, where they, you know, you could have left Milos back, but instead just going for the more aggressive route.
Huge turn there for Doc, managing to pump up their units here with the Strange Gladiator. That 4/3 Vox now coming down and being able to use their ability to take out Milos and heal up Doc up to 12 points of health here. His Handagoat on the other side does manage to find a Sigil, but the Vox being a 4/3 thanks to that Strange Gladiator can't actually be killed unless Handagoat can discard a Sigil, and their last remaining card here is a Touch.
This is gonna get Handagoat down to 4 here, and then here comes Jack.
Guns blazing. Doc28 is going to move into our top 16 with that victory.
28 over 88.
They were playing golf. It's okay.
Yeah.
You know, usually in Eternal you try to reduce your opponent to 0 points of health. Sometimes you try to have the lower number in your name.
Jack's still making some pretty big waves, unsurprisingly. But yeah, there's a lot of different strategies people have chosen to employ this weekend. So I'm sure we'll get to see more of those as that unfolds. Let's see what we're doing next here. All right, looks like we're going to be watching Sifu Danny and Joying Jack in Game 3 here, with Grimpen and ZDCH also in Game 3. We're curious to see who ends up taking the crown there.
So taking a peek here, Sifu Danny pulling one of those versions of the chunky Skycrag deck. Ooh, they've got a Geminon in their deck this weekend. Get behind Geminon. And at the top of your screen here, we got the Joying Jack playing Rakano, taking a little bit of a different approach here, using some abilities to temporarily pump up their units with Kira, as we see that seasoned pumper with the Kira in hand, the ability right now just to make an 8/9 Kira if they could just find some Justice influence.
Mono Fire over there, though, still kind of in it. They certainly haven't lost yet. But Joying Jack would love to pick up, yeah, some Justice influence over there.
I really love a lot of the synergies that Joying Jack's got going on here for their Kira.
Blazing Salvo here for Sifu Danny.
So with the Tota Pioneer gone here for Joying Jack, they're going to have to just be content to try to find a Justice Sigil and use Kira plus the Seasoned Drill Master to try to make a massive unit. Fortunately, Geminon getting traded in here for Island's favor, trying to build up to Spitflame Draconis in hand.
Yeah, Spitflame Draconis is not very far away from happening. Thunder Wings here. I guess the seed can help with that.
Yeah, every little piece matters here. Is the little seed gonna help play a Thunder of Wings? Seed sprouting into a dragon this time. Is the dragon unfortunately gonna bite the dust of Sifu Danny's Seer here, and another great pickup for Sifu Danny is now they've got access to 2 Split Frame Dacronises. This first one's gonna lock down this little seed.
Still battling with one hand tied behind their back. Not really where you want to be.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Joying Jack, finally getting punished for their influence woes here, is unable to deploy any of these Justice cards, and now they're facing down 2 massive dragons.
Lightning Strike not really necessary at this point in time. The 2 Spit Flames are gonna end this fairly quickly. I would assume.
Yeah, we'll see the 2 Split Frame Dacronises come across. Joying Jack down to 4. They're gonna have one last draw at this. They're gonna need to do some crazy amount of work here.
Check. Kind of a good start.
Yeah, but with that Player Aegis there on Sifu Danny, going to be unable to draw a card, not going to be able to proc Jack.
Yeah, basically something short, because I guess you couldn't even discard the Sigil and use Seer, because you need the Sigil to cast Seer to take out one of the Spit Flames there.
Yeah, really needed the ability to get this Kira onto the board earlier. And unfortunately for Joying Jack, gonna try to brawl in here with Tota Pioneer. Sifu Danny gonna let them live a little bit of the dream before bowing out of our tournament here, and Sifu Danny moves on to the top 16.
Sometimes, whoever has the most 6/7s at the end, and I don't think that Jack can be too sad they ended up just never drawing a Justice influence in that last game, and as a result, really just couldn't play too many of their spells.
All right, well, we were going to try to jump into Grimfan and ZDCH's game number 3, but it sounds like while Sifu Danny was dispatching Join Jack here, that match ended up finishing, and our top 16 is now complete. Round of 32 is done, and we're ready for our third round here today, Luis.
Awesome.
But before we do that, we're going to take a short little break. We will catch you on the other side of that, and we'll be back with more Expedition ECQ action.
Alrighty, welcome everyone back to our ECQ here, Shadow of the Spire. I'm Luis Ghp here with Andrew Beckstrom, and we've got some sweet stuff to offer, BK. Why don't you tell us about it?
Yeah, so we wanted to make sure you're all aware of our partnership with Floodgate Games to bring their dice drafting game Sagrada to the digital platforms. It's available now on Steam, the App Store, Google Play. And this is a pretty great little strategy game that you can play on lots of different devices. And you draft different colored dices. You're building these sort of stained glass windows, trying to accomplish quests and goals along the way. It's a competitive game. So it's just a really soothing, pleasurable game. It looks beautiful. Definitely recommend checking it out. The team did a great job bringing this one to life in a fun, easy to play digital setting. Check that out on the Direwolf Digital Store or on any of the platforms that I just mentioned. This round, we're going to be checking out top 16 action here. This is the money round. This is where players who win will be getting a share of the cash prize pool available for $3,000 up for grabs. This round, we're going to be watching with level 13 David versus Portich. Level 13 David is playing an Argentport Kira deck. So we see a lot of pump spell action, Seasoned Drillmaster, Finest Hour, Fearless Crescendo to go with Kira the Prodigy, and topping it off with Tavrad, and we'll be checking that out versus a Haru deck in just a moment here. Let's head on down to the action. All right, Luis, we see Portich is on a similar list to what we saw from ZDCH earlier in the day. We see that Nesting Raven that combines well with Mother of Skies by producing a multi-faction Raven. And for level 13, David, what do they got in store for their hand?
They have got kind of a throwback Argentport list here with Auric Interrogator into Tavrad as their curve, but that's not going to line up so well against Edict of Kodash. They're running out of Kira here. Might prompt action from Portich if they're afraid of follow-up pump spells, but unsurprisingly, they choose to just go with the Unseen Commando. Though there's the pump spell.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Will Portich block here? Finest Hour, a fantastic pickup for level 13, David.
Oh yeah, and the problem with blocking here, of course, is that the Kira deck is full of ways to punish you for that, and really punish you because the stats stick around. So level 13 David is surely hoping for a block, doesn't get one, and likely just follows things up with the Auric Interrogator here.
I really like just playing your 3-drop this turn. If you draw a 4th power, that means next turn you can potentially go Auric Interrogator plus a Finest Hour in the same turn.
Portich in a kind of awkward spot here. They've got 2 2-drop removal spells, but they really don't want to Edict the Kira. They'd much rather turn Kira to Seed. I guess they can just cast Turn to Seed this turn, and that's just totally fine. You know, I'm always looking on how to double spell. Maybe they are gonna Edict away the Auric Interrogator. I wonder if they're gonna then Edict away the Kira as well, or Edict to silence the Kira rather.
Also got the option on their emblem here, but they choose to do none of those. Just gonna play it slow here for the early going. All right, so Bloodletter is that 3-cost 3/3 weapon. It gives the wielder lifesteal this turn, but because Kira keeps around skills permanently, Kira is now permanently a 5/6 lifesteal. One of the nice things about playing a weapon strategy against this field is that if the removal you're worried about is fire removal and turn to seed, weapons are great because the weapon will still stick around and buff up the little seed.
Yeah, you're gonna end up with a 3/5 little seed in play if that goes down that way. Portich is gonna kick things up with Wisdom of the Elders, drawing some more action here, but nothing that can immediately deal with the Kira.
Yeah, they chose not to turn to seed this turn. They were hoping to find a better answer, like a Permafrost or an Avergraft.
Well, the good thing is, you know, with that Unseen Commando pecking away, Portich isn't under like an insane amount of health pressure, and level 13 David stuck on 3 power can't deploy their higher end here.
Level 13 David just picked up a Seasoned Drillmaster, and it's going to give a +3/+3 permanent buff to Kira. We're really seeing what Kira has to offer come together right now.
What do you think the Drillmaster is seasoned with?
You would ask that. Well, like most Zoltans, the Drillmaster appears to be seasoned with green gems, noting that it is a follower of Kodash.
Yeah, see here I was thinking of a dry rub, maybe a little paprika, salt, pepper, that sort of thing. But yeah, well, your glowing green gems thing works too, I suppose.
Portage elects not to chump block with the Nesting Raven, trying to keep it around for when they pick up a Mother of Skies to combo with that.
So Portage now can play Turn to Seed plus another Unseen, or plus an Edict of Kodash, rather. I wonder how much they're tempted to just play another Unseen Commando and really start putting pressure in the air, though. I guess you do have to stop the Kira lifesteal, otherwise you're not really making any progress.
It could potentially Vorlon Corp and kill the Seasoned Drill Master. The Vorlon Corp would stick around. Yeah, I agree. Portage has got a couple of ways to go here, but none of them seem obviously the best to me.
If that Seasoned Drill Master was instead a Shadow unit, I could see going Turn to Seed the Kira, Edict of Kodash, but just going to go with the Vorlon Corp and then another hit with that Unseen Commando.
Portage is clearly putting a big priority on making sure they use their cards in the most efficient way possible, and they're willing to let level 13 David get off some gigantic lifesteal attacks turn after turn.
Level 13 David, I'm not feeling spectacular about this, because sure, you're going to have the health total advantage here as you're hitting with your 8-9 lifesteal over and over again, but Portage is drawing extra cards, making multiple plays a turn. And like this turn, I think we're going to see that finally the Turn to Seed Edict of Kodash turn. I'd be kind of surprised if we didn't.
There it is. Now a 3/5 little seed thanks to the Bloodletter. And
just like that.
For 8. Yeah, I mean, this Huru deck can definitely hit hard. Unseen Commando is fantastic, and there's a second one in Portage's hand.
Fortunately for level 13 David, their Minotaur strategy, especially the Shadow Minotaurs, does not line up well against these Edicts of Kodash. You're just getting continually dumpstered by a 2-mana spell, just killing your 3s, 4s, and 5s. So level 13 David's probably going to play another Auric Interrogator here and run into Unseen Commando plus Edict of Kodash.
One line that level 13 David could consider is using that Fearless Crescendo in hand.
All right. Looks like Unseen Commando is going to be extremely seen now. And that does actually shut down attacks, because now the core is also less good at attacking. But a second Unseen Commando could let Portage get some more damage through here.
We see second Unseen Commando, and thanks to its bonus, the Vorlon Core will attack for 5, meaning level 13 David could block and find a Stour, but all it would do is just stop some damage. It would not trade.
Right. Beaky, do you think Tavrod's too good?
Game continues to evolve, putting a premium on different units of different types and skills.
That's a great answer. Great answer. Portage has drawn lots of Turn to Seeds and Edict of Kodash this game.
Pretty fantastic spot to be up against an Argenport deck. We see Fearless Crescendo for level 13 David. It'll give the Little Seed permanent flying, and now we see Unseen Longbow.
Wow, just going for it, hitting with a 6/5 flying quick draw. Suppose Edict of Kodash can kind of calm things down a little bit.
Yeah, it'll remove the skills. It'll just be a 6/5 then, but the 6/5 is still pretty good on this board. And you see level 13 David with the Silverblade Menace. That's also fantastic. That means that they've got some extra reach if this game goes long. Portage has played quite a number of spells already this game, multiple Turn to Seeds and Edict of Kodashes.
A good chance, I think, that we see potentially another Edict of Kodash here, especially if that Unseen Commando is not attacking. That's starting to sound like a chump block to me.
I don't believe there's any curses right now for those Archgriffin Patriarchs. So
nope, they're big flyers, but that's about it. Huh. So cashing in the Raven. So I think a bit of a change of plans. Otherwise, Portage would have attacked with the Unseen Commando on the ground there.
Yeah, I think Portage is just going to try to race here, potentially just chump with the Raven.
The funny thing is, Portage actually does have enough to just deliver lethal here. Well,
massive
at least before that.
5-point swing from Silverblade Menace. Puts Portage all the way down to 5.
So it's slightly awkward in that Edict of Kodash, of course, you want to use it on the Shadow unit, but then that turn to seed doesn't do anything. Whereas you could turn to seed the Silverblade here. Yeah, and then you could Edict of Kodash to silence the other seed, potentially. I mean, I think that Portage is winning this race handily as things currently stand.
The Unseen Commando just giving bonuses to this Vorlon Corp, the Archgriven Patriarch, since it has 2 skills. It's a phenomenal way to apply pressure.
A lot of damage has been dealt this game.
Yes, there has been a lot of lifesteal. And now we see Edict of Kodash silencing the little seed.
And maybe too late here. Yeah, it looks like we have lethal in the air here, so Tavrod can come down, but wouldn't do enough. And I think Portage is going to take game 1 largely on the back of Edict of Kodash and Turn to Seed. Just like having those cards, I think, gave them a pretty significant advantage, especially since both decks are playing Edict, but it's so much better in Portage's hands.
Portage smartly just chump blocks there, not with the big flyer that can finish off in the air. Awkwardly, level 13 David just has to just play Tavrod and hope that Portage misses something here, but they won't.
Pretty hard to miss just an attack with lethal flyers. But you know what? Stranger things have happened.
All right, so Portage takes down game 1 in this matchup.
Portage acting as a level 14 David here.
So we've got 2 of these Huru Mother of Skies decks in the top 16, and Portage is off to a fantastic start there, showing how their combination of well-tuned removal for the metagame plus flyers, synergies between them, just delivering a great recipe for the field this weekend.
Did ZDCH end up making it through top 16 then?
They did. They're playing against Watchwolf 92, our #1 ranked player this round.
There we go.
We'll be probably checking out their game if this one wraps up after just 2 games. I'll have the Kira deck on the play this game, but I think the biggest thing that jumps out to me is sort of a lack of evasion from Portage's deck list, from level 13's deck this weekend with the Kira deck. They're not playing with Bartholo the Seducer, and I think that's one that you would really want if there's a lot more Mother of Skies decks running around. Just a durable, unblockable unit.
So just structurally, the fact that your expensive units die to their two cost spell is unfortunate.
So players are looking at their 7s here, and level 13 David is going to keep a potentially explosive draw with multiple Kiras and a Bloodletter, but they don't have 3rd power. Meanwhile, Portage picked up a hand that is meant for grinding, but lacks early interaction.
I'd be a little more inclined. I mean, level 13 David snapped off a seat right away, so perfect. Oh, well, Portage also drew a Mother of Skies, so this is going well for both players.
Absolutely. Level 13 David has a couple of options here between Bloodletter and developing maybe another Kira or an Auric Interrogator. We're moving in.
Play especially against the Edict of Kodash deck. Just get your 5/6 lifesteal going. Force them to use their kind of ineffective turn to seed plan if they have it. Portage is going to be able to play a Forbidden Rider Outcast next turn, and that's going to be pretty nice. I think we've also seen Portage just not particularly concern themselves about the health totals here and just more struggle for board advantage. Oh man, that Airless Trainer would have been the perfect turn 3 play.
All right, so Forbidden Rider Outcast comes down, going to make a Cloud Snake, Kira, and we'll see what kind of attacks Portage makes. A heads-up play. They know about Fearless Crescendo from level 13, and they don't attack in, knowing that level 13 David might have Fearless Crescendo, might be able to give Auric Interrogator flying, and as a 4/3 flyer would just eat their Mother of Skies.
And they're okay, I think, with the Unseen Commando trade, as I would be.
Yes, there's definitely some value in getting that one sort of out of the hand. Plus, it might also be a Finest Hour from level 13, David. That might have been what caused the pause. You don't know for sure. All right, so Wind Conjuring, the pickup. +4/+4 in endurance this turn with Kira. That'll be a permanent boost. Level 13 David is trotting up, so to speak, but against Mother of Skies, I wonder what level 13 David's plan will be, ultimately be able to punch through this engine.
Happening is level 13 David's going to gain boatloads of health, but if Portage continues to get value out of all their cards, at some point they're going to deal with that Kira, and then just it doesn't take that long when you're hitting for 10 a turn, even if your opponent's at 50.
I wonder if Portage will even bother chump blocking here. This is such a juicy turn for a level 13 to play a Finest Hour effect. Yeah, they just take it all. Just don't want to give them any reason.
A plan though, they're going to be able to get 2 Kiras going, so I think that that's going to at least spread out their threats a little bit.
All right, Aerialist Trainer will come down, will mentor the Mother of Skies up to a 2/5. So it's a flyer, they draw a card, and they pick up a Kodash Sees All. If level 13 David was having problems attacking through chump blockers before, Restrained Action and Kodash Sees All is going to only add to that.
Portage has a good high-end draw this game. They would love to pick up more curses. They only have the one right now off of the Forbidden Rider Outcast.
Yeah, the big weakness in Portage's opening draw was they didn't have that Mother of Skies. It wasn't clear how they were going to stop the early assault, but top-decking Mother of Skies has made their hand play out beautifully.
Representing Finest Hour here, attacking with the 2/6 into the 2/4. I wouldn't mind blocking with the Aerialist Trainer on the 2/6 Kira here, maybe.
Yeah, the big issue would be a Finest Hour would pump that Kira up to a 5/9. Level 13 doesn't have it. Portage rewarded for the block. And now an Edict of Kodash can potentially, for Portage, could potentially silence one of these Kiras.
Yeah.
Instead, we'll see an Archgriffin Patriarch making another Cloud Snake, drawing another card.
Mother of Skies is not really what Portage wanted, actually. Portage was really just hoping to have a power drop off of that Aviarch, but that Patriarch. But this is still a pretty good position, I think, despite the huge health total disparity.
Yeah, definitely one of those games where the health totals don't really tell the true story of who's winning. Level 13 David with that Wind Conjuring in hand, comfortable just making an all-out attack.
Making the same as last turn, letting level 13 David gain some health and not really worrying about it. All right, well, the Mother of Skies is shut down, but Portage has another one plus an Aerialist Trainer here, so that's a pretty appealing turn.
Absolutely. Yeah, my guess is the best thing that could happen for level 13 David is somehow a million spells end up in Portage's Void and they top deck at Silverblade Menace, but they've only gotten them down to 16, and I'm just struggling right now to see how level 13 David is going to be able to get more damage in here.
It's a little expensive and probably would eat an Edict. Permafrost is going to be coming down soon, though I suppose Wind Conjuring does do a good job of fighting that.
Sure does.
And presumably that's why level 13 David has saved that, but there's a good chance it just gets used on something like Verret this turn, right?
Yeah. Level 13 David could attack with Verret and try to Wind Conjuring and immediately turn it into Verret. Wise the Aegis Verret, but Portage has tools to punch through an Aegis unit right now. They've just done a fantastic job of using their whole curse flyer synergy package. Getting extra value of an Aerialist Trainer and Archgriffin Patriarch has put them up so many cards.
Aerialist Trainer, looks like okay, so Mother of Skies is gonna, the silenced version is gonna block.
I like what Portage is doing here by making this the turn to entice the pump spell.
Yeah, they blocked with the wrong flyer. Okay, that makes sense.
If you force level 13 David to pump spell this turn, your Portage, you're so well set up to handle that, right?
So that if you look at the stats of what Portage has lined up, level 13 David's only be able to kill one of those units.
Wow, incredible.
This isn't even that big of a blowout.
Don't decimate because they're still a power away from Tavrod.
Yeah, Portage is just firmly taking the control role here, and I really like how they're playing this. Now, they've got some options here. Turning the Kiras to seed could, I mean, the weapons stick around, but it could mitigate the text box quite a bit. There's also...
I think if you're Portage turning to seed, just because when the little seeds grow up, they get overwhelm, and level 13 David's deck does look good at utilizing overwhelm.
True. Could also just get value out of Aerialist Trainer, of course, and kind of reassess your options. Maybe throw a Permafrost down on the bigger Kira.
Can't do it on the bigger Kira. She's actually got endurance. She picked that up permanently off of the Wind Conjuring, but you could hit the 5/6 one. I don't think that one has endurance. Keeping all skills she gains, even the temporary endurance from Wind Conjuring. All right, so we will see turn to seed here. Shrinks. Wow. All right, so both Kiras aren't that big.
Comes the Aerialist Trainer, and in comes for a free but somewhat irrelevant 4 points of damage here. Level 13 David really was hoping to draw power for that Tavrod, but that Tavrod's still not even going to have a huge effect on this game. And then they're just kind of priced into attacking here at this point.
Tons of units jumping in front of Tavrod. Jumping in front of Verid, excuse me. And this is going to work out fantastically for Portage. Oh, I see. The blocks weren't all on Verid. All right, so Verid sticks around. It's made 4 progress on its mastery, and it was able to trade with 1 unit. Trading 1 for 1 is not the kind of exchanges that level 13 David needs to get back into this game.
No, and when you're down 5 or 6 cards, then that certainly doesn't help. Here comes Warlock Core, and presumably going to finish off the Verid here. It indeed does, and now we're seeing the tides turn. I mean, we thought Portage was winning the entire time, but now level 13 David isn't even making forward progress, and Portage can start getting more aggressive. And they haven't even deployed their real heavy hitters.
So Silverblade Menace for level 13 David. Maybe there's some world where they can chain off enough. Let's see how much this one's for. It's only been 2 spells. That's at least it gives level 13 David a flyer so they can maybe do some blocking. We'll see Restrained Action get played on level 13 David. All of their units will be cursed by a -1 strength curse. At the end of each of level 13 David's turns, Portage will get to play a 1-cost unit from their deck. The next turn will be a 2-cost unit, and so on.
It doesn't sound particularly restrained. It just sounds like an actual lot of action. And I'm kind of an expert on restraint, you know.
Yeah, you are.
I guess one way level 13 David could potentially steal this game is if Portage just fires off a bunch of Edicts of Kodosh here and like ends up vulnerable to a Tavrod. I just don't really see that happening. And also Tavrod would get 1 hit in before getting pecked to death by a bunch of birds. Which are, in fact, real. I know there's a lot of people who don't believe that.
Not familiar with the idea that birds aren't real, but sure that's some product of quarantine being cooped up.
No, you'll be delighted to know that that was a theory before quarantine.
All right, so Portage cashes in one of their Ravens. Other of Skies sees a multi-faction Raven come into play and makes a Cloud Snake.
And you know, this would be an incredibly unpleasant game to play if from level 13 David's side. Like,
it's just tough. You just don't have the tools.
Yeah, you just know you're not winning. At no point in the game did you think you were winning this game, I don't think. But you have to keep playing it because, I mean, you could win. and it's single limb, but it just feels like you just have to kind of sit there, watch Portage just completely do their thing with a deck that looks like absurdly well lined up for this matchup.
Yeah, not enough removal from level 13 David to kill the Mother of Skies. That's the death knell for the matchup for them, because they just don't have the sort of the evasive unblockable tools that you would need.
At this point, Portage running into unit cap issues. Well, the seeds transform here. You get a 5/10 and an 8/10 with a finest hour in hand. Maybe there's a chance for level 13 David to sneak a win in here.
It's going to be tough. They're going to kick things off with an attack, and we'll see how deep Portage goes to prevent damage. And
the thing, though, that Portage doesn't actually care if they lose a bunch of units. They're already running into unit cap issues.
Certainly are. Yeah, we see Portage lining up some pretty big blocks here. Could open up the door for a finest hour being excellent.
Yeah, I think what's most likely going to happen is if Portage can line it up so that they would kill both seeds, level 13 David gets to save the bigger seed, take out a bunch of stuff, and still probably have a lot of issues dealing with restrained action, plus permafrost could just come down as well.
Every single one of Portage's units is currently blocking all 12 units. Level 13 David will do the math, try to figure out if they can keep either one alive with a finest hour. What's the best stuff they can kill? Then I think we'll see that.
And we're gonna see like Mother of Skies and maybe the Patriarch going down. We'll find out momentarily here. Seeds have in fact awakened. I mean, Portage didn't even play their edict or their Kodash Sees All. Okay, the little seed is getting some action in here.
All right. So a good number of Portage's units bite the dust, but with restrained action still in effect, they are going to be able to continue to gas up. We see an Aerialist Trainer come off, enter the Mother of Skies, bring along another Cloud Snake, draw another card.
And here comes Permafrost locking down the seed, and Kodash Sees All, which is going to play a 3/3 Griffin every turn.
Yeah, Portage still manages to have an Edict of Hand. Level 13 David, been waiting this whole game to get that Tavrod down and still just can't quite get there. A second Tavrod joins the hand. Forbidden Rider Outcast will play a Curse of Loneliness on level 13 David.
Yeah, and we're just cleaning up here. Portage is going to be able to play Warlock Core if they want to take out the Orc Interrogator. If they even care about it. Even had to give up a Raven for that.
And it'll make the Kodash Sees All Griffins a little smaller because now that curse that was on the Interrogator is gone. Portage is being careful in case the little seed in play got woken up. I think they don't actually have to worry about it. There's only one Wind Conjuring. It was in the market level 13 David at the start of the match. They've already used it, and I don't see any other ways to grant endurance in their deck.
Level 13 David fighting the good fight, but really just not going to be successful here, unfortunately for them.
Yeah, so now Portage can get a 5-drop off of their restrained action. Archgriffin Patriarch, there are 5 curses in play. It'll draw 5 more cards. Her deck has such an impressive early and long game. I think it's just a really fantastic deck that we've seen show up this weekend.
You know, ZDCH and their testing team kind of did it. Like their squad put together what looks like a very strong deck, and we're about to see at least one copy in the top 8, and at some point we'll see whether ZDCH advanced as well.
They're up against the most popular deck in the field, Praxis, this round, so certainly it'll be telling to see if they advance through that one. Giant attack coming in for Portage. Is this lethal? It is. Portage wins this match, advances to the top 8 of this ECQ, finishing off level 13 David in 2 straight games. Really like the sort of the deck building with the Kira decks, but man, Mother of Sky seems to do a phenomenal job at brickwalling them if you don't have the unblockable or overwhelmed tools to get them through.
It's like level 13 David maybe prepared more for aggressive decks with a bunch of you know, bloodletters and the like.
All right, so we're going to try to join another match in progress. We have Watchwolf and ZDCH in game 3 right now, so we're going to head down in just a moment. All right, here's game 3 of this Praxis versus Huru matchup. We see a Vorlon Corp in play attacking for ZDCH. Anytime you're attacking against the Praxis deck, that seems like a good sign.
Oh yeah, and it's going to be followed up with another one. Eating potentially the Verret there.
Watchwolf working with Verret and an Aurelian supplier. One of the things that's difficult for these Praxis decks is bigger blockers. They aren't really playing with any combat tricks that help them out in these spots. And we see a Vorlon Corp eating that Verret. Dinosaur Paladin getting hungry.
And another alien supplier, I mean, that's the sort of thing that can help get you back into this.
All right, Kairos' choice could potentially do a good job of killing a Vorlon Corp in the future. For now, though, Watchwolf already played a power this turn, can't get it down. Big Unseen Commando turn for ZDCH. This is close to a lethal attack.
Yeah, this is 11. It's going to prompt a little bit of action from the Watchwolf side here. And at 18 health with a Unseen Commando on deck, not really sure how Watchwolf gets out of this, because once the cores start attacking, it's really, really deadly.
Vindictive Kodash takes out Covetous Stranger. No extra cards coming for you, Watchwolf. So if Kairos' choice takes out a Vorlon Corp and Charchain Flail loses 1 health by killing Unseen Commando, they'll drop Watchwolf down to 3. Could double block Vorlon Corp. I think Watchwolf can survive 1 more turn, Luis.
That doesn't really get them out of
it. Yeah, the extra Cloud Snake just sticking around is also
somehow that's the deal breaker there.
Watchwolf thinking through the options. Vorlon Corp, just an amazing attacker. If you don't have the removal tools to deal with this, if you don't have something with 5 health, it will truck and truck hard. Watchwolf found the line that keeps him alive, and since ZDH just drew a Huru banner, Watchwolf is going to get another turn. I think the one out for Watchwolf right now would be a Jack off the top.
2 units to not die to a 4/2 invulnerable is really not something I'm happy about.
Oh, it's ugly. All right, Aurelian Supplier will draw 1 card. If they draw a Jack, they can still get out of this, but it's got to be a Jack off the top. Oh, I'm sorry. The Rallying Supplier draws 0 cards. They were both behind on units and up on cards in hand. All right. See, my bad. ZDCH takes it down.
And both ZDCH and so we've 2 copies of the Huru Cursed Flyer deck in the top 8. That's pretty good. Portage and ZDCH are gonna have to do some work here to try to take down this tournament.
Yeah. So that'll be it for our top 16. We have a top 8 set. We are going to tag Luis out and bring in Corey for the next round. It was fun hanging out with you in the booth,
Yeah,
Luis.
of course. And I will catch you guys on the flip side. Good luck to everyone remaining in the event.
All right, so we're going to take a quick break, and we will be back with top 8 action at the ECQ in just a few minutes. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back to the ECQ Shadow of the Spire. I'm Andrew Beckstrom. I'm joined by Corey Burkhart this round. We're going to be watching top 8 action momentarily here at this ECQ, where both these players are playing for their chance to qualify for the World Championships and a share of the $3,000 prize pool. Before we get started with this round, I want to make sure if you are enjoying the tournament and want to get up on the competitive scene on Eternal, right now is a great time to be playing in the queues. You can be earning your summer quarterly championship points. We'll have more details about when the summer championships are soon, but by reaching Masters and finishing well on the leaderboard, you can earn your quarterly championship points that can qualify you for both of those tournaments. May and June are your last months to earn draft championship points. If you finish Masters in either of these 2 months, you'll earn 5 draft championship points. 5 points is all you need to play in the draft championship. That'll be coming up later this year. And that one's a great one because that one's giving away 4 slots to the World Championship. So just by playing your normal games in the queue, you can advance in the Eternal organized play and get on your way to the World Championships. Great time to be playing. All right. This round, Corey, we are going to be starting off with ZDCH, aka Zach Hill, once again. Feels like this Huru deck that they and Portage are both in the top 8 with is the deck of the tournament. Praxis was the most popular deck in our top 64, but with 2 copies of this Huru deck, definitely seems like a really innovative build that has sort of caught the tournament field by storm. We're going to be watching them play up against an Argenport skills deck. And while we saw Zach best Argenport skills last round, I think they've got a much better chance on the Argenport side this round.
Yeah, the biggest pickup here for Cosmic, I think, is this Bartholo the Seducer. They're playing the full 4 copies in their deck. And as we saw in the previous round, just the inability for the Argenport skills deck to actually get through to actually connect on the Huru life total was kind of the big failing the last time around. I think Cosmic Earth's got a good shot here, and it sounds like game number 1's already underway, so let's go down to the action.
All right, getting things started here on our top 8. Cosmic are at the top of your screen playing Argenport skills. They do have a little bit of an unseen package with Outcast Elite. That 2/1 Aegis will give an unseen a random battle skill whenever Cosmicer plays it, and with Unseen Commando in hand, pick something up like Killer or Unblockable. It could be a big deal for boosting their chances to get through this Huru deck.
We actually see one of the tech choices here for Cosmicer in their deck, Arc Sentry. A big blocker, if you will, against a lot of the fire decks, trying to leverage the 2 skill synergies, play into a longer game, being able to attack and defend in that way for them. All the while, having 5 points of health is kind of something that's difficult for a lot of these decks to break through, as we see the Unseen Commando come down, and we'll see what skill it manages to pick up here.
Looks like it picked up Charge, Corey.
Charge it is, not too shabby, as Cosmic are going to bash in here for 3 points and swing themselves up to 28.
ECH will permafrost the Unseen Commando. That's not the ideal place unit to permafrost.
Yeah, from ZDCH's side, you're happy to deploy a curse, giving the Archgriffin Patriarch in your hand, but all things considered, that's among the units that you would like to permafrost the least. Cosmicer's really going to be able to leverage the 2 skill ability on the Unseen Commando and make these really strong attacks as the game progresses.
Wow, and ZDCH makes a bird with their Nesting Raven. Wonder if... I guess maybe they figured that the Ghost Outcast Fleet, since it doesn't have 2 skills, still can't attack into the 1/1 either.
Yeah, an interesting choice there, but now we see Aegis picked up. It's going to be a potent little weapon that could get passed on through Exalted, the later point in the game.
All right, ZDCH picked up Mother of Skies. We saw that card do tremendous work earlier against an Argenport deck for Zach.
Total shifting of gears here from Zach. It looks like making that Raven wasn't just about holding back the Outcast Elite. It looks like ZDCH wants to try to turn the corner and start attacking Cosmicer here.
Yeah, Unseen Commando is a fantastic option for racing. Just the lifesteal bonus it provides, an extra 3 points of health right there, means that Cosmicker is going to be able to attack with quite a bit, but DCH is at a healthy 28.
Given they've drawn this Mother of Skies, EDCH now is the decision of, do you want the little extra value? Do you want to make the Cloud Snake hatchlings and hold off on deploying this Patriarch for the turn? CDCH determines, nope, I'd rather draw my card, get the 4/4 Flying Endurance of the Patriarch out first.
Cosmicker picks up their second Edict of Kodash of the game. They'll just silence the Unseen Commando for ZDCH. It'll be a 2/3, but will no longer provide those +1/+1 bonuses when 2 or more skilled units attack.
And I love this attack here from the Ghostblade Outcast. Looking to pass on the Lifesteal Aegis weapon from Exalted here. All the while, we see the Auric Sentry attacking as well, and that's going to give another Warcry to the next unit or weapon in Cosmicker's deck.
Now, tremendous heads-up attack by Cosmicker, recognizing that things go well if the Ghostblade Outcast gets in, and things go well if it gets blocked down, being able to pass along a 2/2 Lifesteal Aegis weapon.
Yeah, and even without a permafrost or anything of the like in ZDCH's hand, we are going to see the block, and now that's a 3/7 Auric Sentry with Lifesteal, Aegis, Endurance, and Warcry that continues to get buffed every time it attacks from that Unseen Commando, getting to attack as a 4/8.
Cosmicker is going to decimate their Shadow Emblem and get a Death Elemental. And, oof, that is a tough pickup for ZDCH. They decimated and got a 2/1 Wind Elemental last turn and then drew their 6-drop Restrained action.
But thankfully, off of that Patriarch, they did manage to pick up a second copy of the Unseen Commando. This one, Unsilenced, can allow the Patriarch to battle in for 5. Ooh. That is a nice one to get Warcry onto. Extra strength on your quick draw weapons. What can Cosmicker put together with the Unseen Longbow here?
Yeah, Cosmicker was just 1 power short of being able to spellcraft it, but the fact that this means that it can no longer dealt with by blocking, since it's now picked up quick draw, is just so attractive.
This Auric Sentry is quickly becoming just an absolute house. That's quick draw, that's Lifesteal, that's Warcry, that's Endurance, that's an Aegis.
Real problem for Cosmicker going long is what will they be able to do if Mother of Skies gets rolling for ZDCH? Will they be able to deal with an endless onslaught of chump blockers? Right now, ZDCH doesn't have any multi-faction units in hand. They're not really at risk of dying in the next couple of turns.
Yeah, the one thing that Cosmicker's deck cannot really produce, given that their faction choices here, is Overwhelm. There's no real way that this Auric Sentry is going to, push through and gain evasion in that sense over small chump blocking flyers if the Mother of Skies gets rolling. And, while ZDCH cannot go Edict of Kodash and Permafrost the Sentry, given that it has Endurance, they're not under that much pressure just yet. The issue is they are starting to fall behind. They're going to be continually blocking, and Cosmicker's going to be continuing turn after turn after turn here.
So if you're Cosmicker, you could potentially attack with the Death Elemental, but they're choosing not to, knowing it would just trade with an Unseen Commando in all likelihood. All right, Auric Sentry gets in, dropping ZDCH just down to 17.
Seek power here. Start getting to that restrained action for ZDCH. One of their ways to sort of pull ahead here in a long game is keep seeing the flyers on their side, try to pack away and keep pace with the lifesteal from the Auric Sentry.
Wonder what Cosmicker is considering here. Is there anything to do with the Finest Hour? I see, we were just at the end of ZDCH's turn. Alright, another 8, 9, Lifesteal, Endurance, Quick Draw and Warcry attack from that Auric Sentry.
All right, and here's actually a really good pickup for ZDCH. Kind of in the situation of you need many things to actually start competing with this RX Sentry. Definitely want to get this restrained action down, start chaining together units that way to gain extra blockers. And the Wisdom of the Elders does deliver that 6 power, so next turn we could see that restrained action come down on their side. And fortunately for Cosmic here, just not finding another way to leverage their advantage. They have the best unit on the table, but they're not actually finding a way to get that far ahead with it right now.
All right, another giant attack from ZDCH, or from Cosmic, or does ZDCH jump with one of their units? You've got to certainly consider it. Don't want to get too low and get punked out by some flurry of pump effects and units slipping through somehow.
Yeah, Cosmic doesn't have access to Reconnaissance, so we won't see a game stolen with Unblockable. However, they do get low enough. There are tools at Cosmic's disposal to really turn the corner. ZDCH chooses to take it and falls down to 9 points of health now.
So ZDCH has got a couple of options here between Vorlunk Corp, Bin Rider Outcast, Restrained Action, Edict of Kodash. I think I really like the line of using Forbidden Rider Outcast to knock off the Aegis and silencing that Auric Sentry.
I like that line as well, but Zach going to play for the really long game. Going to try to get the restrained action going now. I think Cosmic has a few draws here that can really just end it in short order. If they could find a Fearless Crescendo, that would be a huge draw from Cosmic here. Fortunately, finds a Shadow.
Cosmic is playing a pretty low curve Argenport deck, and they've already decimated once. This is not the way that their deck is not really built to play this long of a game. They're not playing with Tavrod or any of the other bigger top end cards you might see from an Argenport deck. Their curve ends at 3.
Yeah, and even that Bartholo we alluded to earlier, they're not actually looking to leverage the activated ability there. There are no relics in this deck that you're going to go fetch up when you've used that ability. The only person you're trying to seduce is your opponent with the unblockable attacks.
I think I might have played, like one Kodash's armor, because you just never know, and it's just gonna be a good card in longer games.
Also plays well into some of the things that you can do maybe with Kira and the like. So we're gonna see the Wind Elemental bite the dust here. Cosmic are picking up 8 more points of health. But now, on Zach's side, picking up a Nesting Raven from the first unit there played by that restrained action.
One plan that Cosmicer does have is they have Resounding Shockwave in their market. That's the 3-cost spell that stuns all enemy flyers. So it might be a way that they can build to if the game continues to drag on here. But otherwise, it feels like ZDCH have gotten their feet underneath them. They've now got a lot of multi-faction units in hand to work with their Mother of Skies. And they are just very comfortable allowing Cosmicer to gain tons of health, to continue to Warcry. They've got their Curse Flyer engine rolling, and when it works, it is absolutely something to see.
Yeah, and it looks like we're going to see that turn that you were talking about last turn, Andrew. Using the Forbidden Rider Outcast, breaking off the Sentry's Aegis, using the Edict of Kodash, silence all of these skills off of it, and now, thanks to the 7th power, also using the Permafrost on it. ZDCH now protected from that Fearless Crescendo line with the Resounding Shockwave to stun all these flying units. However, there's still Wind Conjuring over there, still a way to break this Permafrost, still a way to re-enable this giant RX Sentry back into the battle. Heads up here by Zach. Even though they've kind of gained control of the board here, opponents at 43, still contemplating attacking, still trying to figure out, okay, can I actually start making a move here? And
oh my goodness, Corey, a 7/7 Bartholo.
All of those war cries they've added up. The Pacify getting played here is going to break the Aegis, but that is a 7/7 unblockable, and looking at Zach's hand, they've burned all their removal. There is no way to prevent this this Bartholo from attacking right now.
Do they even have a 2-drop that can get off restrained action? A Mother of Skies won't help. The Nesting Raven. Is Cosmic are about to steal this one with Bartholo?
Zach is at 9. Can survive one attack, but the finest hour in hand.
Cosmic picked the perfect turn to top deck Bartholo right after ZDCH burned all that removal.
Yeah, thought they were just going to silence and leave around a 7-8 with no skills. Not that much to worry about.
If I know ZDCH, they are just dying on the inside because they had the tools to deal with the Auric Sentry being a 7-8. They really didn't need to permafrost it. They have so many chump blockers at the ready. Oh, what a tough sequence of events for them.
Yeah, it makes me wonder if ZDCH may have missed that the restrained action would break any potential Aegises there, because we saw them thinking about it like, I still have to get this game over with. Cosmicer can still steal this game, and as we see, there's Bartholo, there's the attack, pump on the Unseen Commando, finest hour, 11 damage, and Cosmicer manages to steal game number 1 in a situation that looked like ZDCH had turned it around.
Yeah, and ZDCH took a couple of hits from the Auric Sentry where they would drop themselves down into single digits that they didn't need to. You gotta feel like maybe ZDCH made the right decisions. Maybe there were things that they were concerned about if they had started chump blocking earlier, but it was tough.
Yeah, there was definitely trade-offs there of, well, you want the ground blockers out just to play around the resounding shockwave at a Cosmicer's market, but if Cosmicer actually builds out a wide enough board, you actually need the 2/3s to hold back like the Outcast elites. Tough spot, but we do see ZDCH starting us off here, game number 2.
All right, ZDCH has got Nesting Raven, Forbidden Rider, Outcast, and Turn to Seed, so they've got a good early blocker and some interaction coming up later in the game. Cosmicer got a Ghostblade Elite, Crown Watch Paladin is sort of the early attackers.
Solid little pickup there on turn 3 for Cosmicer. The Crown Watch Paladin's going to join the fray. The Outcast Elite going to gain that 1 point of health on its attack, thanks to Lifesteal. And unfortunately for ZDCH here, just nothing really going on in the early turns. This Nesting Raven helping preserve the health total, and they do have 2 great follow-up plays here with the Forbidden Rider, Outcast, and the Vorlunk core, but they're going to be playing catch-up here against what Cosmicer has going on.
For Cosmicer, is this an Unseen Commando turn, a Master's Blade turn, a Finest Hour turn? What do you think, Corey?
My instinct would just be to get the Unseen Commando out, kind of diversify your assets here, if you will. This enables, start pushing through a few more points of damage. It also just leaves a threat in play that's like, hey, Zach, you really have to answer this, otherwise things are going to get scary for you. And we do see Cosmicer just deploying this awesome unit threat in the Unseen Commando.
All right, Crown Watch Paladin has Warcry a couple times now. ZDCH has got some good catch-up tools here. Probably see a Forbidden Rider Outcast. It's not the ideal deploy against Unseen Commando, of course. Maybe they'll just use it to knock off the Aegis on the Crown Watch Paladin, but you have a Vorlunk Corp coming up that's just beautiful. Works beautifully against a small Aegis unit like it.
Yeah, I could actually see arguments for, if you play the Forbidden Rider Outcast here, if you're on ZDCH's side, choosing any of the 3 units Cosmicer. If you want to shrink the Unseen Commando so that doesn't attack through your Forbidden Rider Outcast, fine. You might need to find another way to answer some of these 2 skill units. Put it actually on the Exalted unit so it doesn't pass up a powerful weapon, and that's actually what we're going to see here.
Reborn Master off the top for Cosmicer. The 2 cost now a 3/4 thanks to Warcry. Has endurance and gives +1 strength to all of your units with 2 or more skills, which for right now for Cosmicer is their whole board as we see their deck building working well.
Yeah, and thanks to this, now the Crown Watch Paladin can attack through the Nesting Raven, so we're going to see the Forbidden Rider Outcast throw in a block, and if you're on Cosmicer's side, is this the time to use your finest hour?
I think I like it. It's your Crown Watch Paladin's getting pretty big with these 2 Unseens giving it stat bonuses.
Yeah, and we definitely saw the power of the Warcry last game. Just Warcrying up the same thing a few times. It's not like the sizing of the units doesn't matter in this matchup. ZDCH, when they don't start with the Mother of Skies, they don't really have the ability to just amass that many Cloud Snake hatchlings. Like, the size of the units really matters in the late game, and there we go again, another Warcry into a Bartholo.
Cosmicer this game has just drawn a tremendous amount of threats, and now we see sort of the way that they've built their deck, nice and low curve, really paying off, where they're not drawing too much power, and they are just continuing to put imposing unit into play.
Agent pumping up the Bartholo here, both units.
I think if I'm Cosmicer, I really wish you make this attack before you play the Bartholo. You just make ZDCH's life so easy when you say, yeah, you can go ahead and block with Mother of Skies. You don't have to worry about a finest hour.
100% agree. Additionally, just not even threatening the Blightmoth there. The Mother of Skies gets to block now, thanks to this Vorlunk core, gets to make a Cloud Snake. And the Vorlunk takes out the Bartholo. And now sort of the offensive pressure that Cosmicer had been setting up for with these Warcries has been stifled. There's not a powerful weapon to pass on from Exalted. The Crown Watch Paladin is sort of brickwalled here in its tracks, not able to make any additional pressure, and Cosmicer is still an additional power away from this Master's Blade really being in full force.
Yeah, that Argenport insignia that they drew came into play depleted because of the little seeds now floating around in their deck.
Yeah, 3 little seeds in there, thanks to those Unseen Commandos being transformed. Still a few turns away from getting any 5/7 overwhelms.
Wow, Cosmicer is going to pass up the ability to Spellcraft Fall Short and just get the Master's Blade down now.
Yeah, I just needed to wait 1 turn, but instead Cosmicer saying, hey, I'm falling behind here. I don't have the time to wait on this. Gonna see if they can pressure here to the Mastery. It looks like they're going to get punished massively here, but the second Vorlunk core on ZDCH's side, another Cloud Snake coming down.
And I think ZDCH can start potentially turning the corner here.
Yeah, I definitely like getting in with at least some of the flying units. You also get in with one of the Vorlunk cores. This other one that has already used up its killer.
A few more turns away from that Unseen Commando little seed over there, rung up into a 5/7 overwhelm.
Yeah, and you definitely want to get the game over with before that thing transforms. We've seen just the devastating turns that Cosmicer can swing. Like, if there's ever a Fearless Crescendo coming into the fray, getting that resounding shockwave, getting a Wind Conjuring, things can change very quickly on these boards.
The Ghostblade Outcast passes along a small little lifesteal weapon, 0/1. Reborn Master getting its second skill now pumps itself. Well, it looks clear to me for Cosmicer to attack in with the Reborn Master. They're going to start things by silencing the Mother of Skies.
Yeah,
It's tricky. I think I agree with it. It could potentially silence the Vorlunk core to stop them from attacking in.
Yeah, and you potentially have, good blocks on these Vorlunk cores. You could hold back one of them, but of course, given that you have lifesteal, much better to be attacking, given the Vorlunk cores are vulnerable to damage on ZDCH's turn here.
Now, if that Blightmoth ever dies, it can finish off both the Vorlunk cores, so they're actually going to be pretty well hauled off, I think, by this board. ZDCH is probably going to look for an Edict of Kodash to clear out the Blightmoth before resuming attacks.
Yeah, we might actually see things stalemate here for a turn or two. Till one of our players can draw something that breaks up what the other side is able to produce here.
ZDCH, I don't believe they're playing with a mark this weekend. they don't get that sort of customization aspect. They're just going to play Nesting Raven for now and actually get a 1/1 flyer. Just anticipating if they top deck the Edict of Kodash, wanting to have a little more action in that department.
The last of the Warcry threats picked up here from Cosmic Era, 5/4 Crown Launch Paladin. Actually something that enables some pretty good attacks here over the course of a couple turns. And there's that turn to seed. So now if you're in ZDCH's seat, how do you want to play this? There are many different options available to you, and all the while, that's another 5/7 Overwhelm. I think we've gotten, it's either this next turn or the turn following that ZDCH is going to have to deal with. If you're going to plant flowers to your opponent, you got to make sure you got a plan when the seed sprouts and flower comes out, as ZDCH is about to have to deal with what they've sown here.
Reborn Master transformed down to a 0/3. And Little C number 1 wakes up. It's now a 5/7. And I think Cosmicer could put an attack in here. It would potentially just trade with some Vorlon Corpse, but actually that's pretty useful.
Yeah, it looks like it would trade with some Vorlon cores and still push through some damage. It's not like ZDCH actually has a lot of health in terms of all their units.
It's not the best trade for you, but I think the big advantage of making that attack would be is that it would open up things next turn for the Crown Watch to start attacking, since ZDCH would have to trade off 3 units to remove the Little C. But Cosmicer is going to wait off. They do have a lot of live draws between things like Finding our Fearless Crescendo to make that attack.
And also here, the waiting game isn't that bad from Cosmicer. Yes, ZDCH's deck has a lot more of the powerful draws, but with another Little Seed in play already planted on Cosmicer's side, just in a few more turns here, they're going to have another 5/8 life-stealing Overwhelm to join the party. But an Aerials Trainer picked up here from ZDCH. They're going to grow up this Raven. Unfortunately for them, just find a 9th power source.
ZDCH, 2 of their best live draws are Perul's Choice in this spot. Perul's Choice, with its search up a curse ability, could find that restrained action or a Kodash Sees All.
Yeah, both of which at this point in the game would just be absolutely devastating. Cosmicer still just choosing to hold back.
Tough times for ZDCH. They could permafrost that Little Seed before too many pump effects show up in Cosmicer's hand. This is a really tough decision for ZDCH. They got burned last game as hard as you can for using removal spells too quickly. And you know what? They just don't want to risk it. They're actually going to permafrost the small lifesteal Little Seed, knowing that one is pretty close to growing up. Looks like that one still had a turn to go, though, so not sure why ZDCH felt the need to do it this turn.
Yeah, unsure about needing to do it this turn if you were going to hit the one that wasn't going to already have been sprouted. That said, I do actually like using the permafrost. I think you don't want to get yourself into a situation where Cosmicer does find a Finest Hour or something to that degree and then starts, making attacks here. But now that 5/8 Overwhelm Lifesteal Seed locked out, what is the Ghostblade Outcast going to pick up here?
Can't quite tell what skill Ghostblade Outcast picked up. All right, Edict of Kodash. That's a card that ZDCH has been looking forward to for a while. Could potentially remove the Blight Moth, not leave behind a shade, and allow ZDCH to start getting in the air. Do they feel like they need to silence something else right now? Potentially the Little Seed with Overwhelm?
I think given that Cosmicer hasn't made attacks with that first Little Seed that's a 5/7 Overwhelm at this point, ZDCH is going to feel safe. But no, they're actually going to silence the Outcast. And a huge draw here picked up from Cosmicer. They've picked up the Fearless Crescendo. They could actually send this 5/7 Little Seed into the sky, and ZDCH does not have much in the way of large flying units like they have most of the weekend.
As ZDCH is real, it's got some great top decks between Archgriffin Patriarch, Perul's Choice, Restrain Action, Kodosh Sees All, and Cosmicer is going to make it so they need to find one of them fast. A 5/7 lifesteal, 5/7 Overwhelm Flying Little Seed picks up a Wind Conjuring from the market.
That has the ability to break the permafrost here that's on the 5/8 Little Seed. But it looks like Cosmicer is going to hold off at least for this turn and just kind of pressure here with the Blight Moth and the Little Seed, see if maybe they can force ZDCH into some rough blocking situations. Gonna kill that Raven off with the Edict of Kodosh.
Does Cosmicer get the pumps in while the pumps are good? Or do they save it for next turn? Pretty attractive to do the decimating now and then have another Justice card in hand for next turn, but Cosmicer wants it to be an element of surprise, though I can't imagine it's going to surprise ZDCH too much. Another sigil off the top. ECH's time is running short here. I believe they can make another Raven with the Nesting Raven, but they don't. That might have been a misstep from ZDCH. If you suspect Wind Conjuring, making the Raven from Nesting Raven would be enough to give you 3 health worth of units, and against potentially 10 strength for Overwhelm coming in between the Blight Moth and the Little Seed. This is getting dicey.
Wonder if ZDCH here is trying to, you know, lure Cosmic under a false sense of hope, but Cosmicer trying to go for it here. Buff up the Little Seed. 9 strength there, 1 on the Blight Moth. That means 8's going to be coming through, and ZDCH out in our top 8. Cosmicer advances to our semifinals with their Argenport skills deck.
And good for Cosmicer. That looked like a really tough matchup. They managed to keep their head in it the whole time, and they advanced to our top 4.
They really leveraged their tools in a really effective way.
Yeah, so that is going to do it for this round. Before we go, I wanted to tell you all about the Clank Adventuring Pack that you can pick up now if you go to the digital store or go to the Renegade Game Store. It's an expansion for Clank that gives you some additional theme decks for different characters and helps expand the game for 5 to 6 player play. So make sure to check out the Clank Adventuring Pack today. So we're going to take a break for a few minutes. This tournament's moving along briskly. We're going to be back with our top 4 in just a few minutes. Stay tuned to find out who's going to be the winner of this ECQ. All right, welcome back to the ECQ Shadow of the Spire. I'm Andrew Beckstrom. Corey Burkhart's along with me as we are getting ready to watch the top 4 here of this ECQ. It's down to just 4 players left. We're going to be starting off with Black Ice versus Cosmicer. Cosmicer, we've gotten to see them last round. They're playing an Argenport skills deck, taking advantage of Outcast Elite, Reborn Master, Unseen Commando, and a couple of non-unseens to go with it, like Bartholo and Crownwatch Paladin. Seems like their deck hits pretty hard and fast and is pretty resilient. Up against them this round will be Black Ice. They're playing Jekinations. That's the sort of the Firetime Shadow deck that plays both Aramat's Machinations and Jek. And, you know, this is the deck that won the last Expedition tournament 2 weeks ago. A number of cards were affected in the most recent balance patch, and Black Ice is like, still got this, and they are all the way into the top 4 now. We're going to be checking them out this round. Corey, what is the keys to the matchup in your mind?
So Cosmicer needs to come out, you know, hard and fast. They need to build up a strong, powerful unit, try to keep applying pressure to Black Ice. Don't let them set up their sacrifice synergies. Don't let them get their feet up under them. And it sounds like game's ready. Let's head down to it.
All right, here we are for the first of our 2 semifinals. The other semifinal players are on hold. We hold both semifinals so that we can see them back to back. Cosmicer is kicking things off with a very Justice take on their archetype, and meanwhile, Black Ice is not really doing much to show that they're a Jek deck with just 1 fire influence in the early going.
Yeah, this is kind of the dream start here for Cosmicer. You're looking to play, you know, out some of your 2 skill units early on, have an Unseen Commando, now a Master's Blade to follow up. If they can manage to find this third power source, it'll be a huge start for them. And on Black Ice's side, I mean, it's turn 2, there's no Shadow influence to speak of. There's no fear of any Blight Moss or Voxes coming down just yet.
All right, Black Ice picks up a Blazing Salvo. That'll allow them to take down potentially one of these 2 units. The Aegis, not the Aegis unit, but they're just going to hold it. They don't want to pass along the Exalted Weapon onto the Crownwatch Paladin just yet. Unfortunately for Cosmicer, they whiff on finding power number 3. For the time being, they're just going to have to work with what they've got in play.
Yeah, we're going to have to see with all 3s in hand. Will Cosmicer want to use their Fearless Crescendo by chance this turn? With nothing that they need to worry about for flying here, looks like they're going to hold off and just see how things develop. Some Black Ice's side, they're also not going to fire off their Blazing Salvo. And oddly enough, we're seeing the duo here of the Gentle Grazer and Jek causing a little bit of friction, Andrew.
Yeah, the good news is that they're both really powerful cards that you want to play when you have 4 power. So hopefully by the time you do have 4 power, you can play one of them, and in this case, it'll be Gentle Grazer.
Yeah, Black Ice there using their Destruction Chance, working towards this Gentle Grazer, as the Gentle Grazer is going to ambush into play here, and what is it going to find?
Oh,
Light Moth.
Moth. Phenomenal. Light Moth gets to kill the Ghostblade Outcast. It'll pass along that Lifesteal weapon onto the other Crownwatch Paladin, then Gentle Grazer gets to trade with one of them. Really fantastic sequence for Black Ice.
And a great situation here for Black Ice, having that second Gentle Grazer in hand. Being able to shrink the Outcast Elite has now made it such that this Crownwatch Paladin in play could actually trade off with the Gentle Grazer. Alright, here we go for Cosmicer. Managed to find the 3rd power, has both set of influences now. Can't play the Unseen Longbow just yet. How are they best going to advance their board here? Is this the spot to play the Master's Blade? You're just 1 skill away from being able to enable the Mastery in 1 turn. Do you play the Unseen Commando and diversify your threats?
Pretty tricky spot for Cosmicer. They're probably fearing another Gentle Grazer. If you play Unseen Commando, you would be able to get your Crownwatch Paladin up to a 4/4. Interesting. So they're going to go for the attack first, then play Bartholo.
And this is going to prompt Black Ice. Gentle Grazer finds a Tota Pioneer. And that's going to enable some spicy stuff here with the Devour and a Blazing Salvo in hand for Black Ice. They've got the ability here to draw some additional cards and start using these abilities on these Gentle Grazer Shades should they so choose.
And we're going to see Black Ice use for that right now. Blazing Salvo takes out the Aegis. Get to devour their Gentle Grazer Shade, draw 2 more cards. Kairos' Choice will be able to kill Barthel if they want to right now. They could potentially kill it with Jack as well.
Yeah, I think I like using the Jack here. Great heads up play there by Black Ice in their total sequencing here. Gonna pitch that Kato is, or without Cosper having a board here, it's unlikely to see the Gladiators join the fray as Black Ice starts pecking away here on Cosmic's health total.
Yeah, and I think Cosmicer might have just come out a little too slow out of the gates. The power stumbles might prove too much here. We'll see if they can stumble something powerful. But man, once this Jekinations deck starts getting its value trains rolling, it could be a lot to handle.
Not a bad pickup here. Double Warcry onto the Seducer. Can a Bartholo help catch Cosmicer up here?
Value train rolls on. Aurelian Supplier for Black Ice is the draw for the turn. If they play it right now, they will get to draw 2, both being having more units and having fewer cards.
Looks like that's where they're going to start off here. See if they can find a way to get this Bartholo off the table. As unfortunately for them, 2 Warcries has prevented the Blightmoth from breaking the Aegis and the Kairos' Choice from finishing off Bartholo. Black Ice, of course, also has that Toto Pioneer still in play. Could try to pass on Overwhelm to the Jack to try to push that through.
Look at this. Black Ice is making an attack, recognizing that if Cosmicer blocks, they can use Blightmoth to knock off the Aegis and Kairos' Choice to the last point of damage. Boy, it is really not pleasant to let Jack connect. If you're Cosmicer, do you just have to?
I think if you're in Cosmicer's seat, the writing is sort of on the wall here. Yes, Black Ice can be making a really heads-up attack and trying to trick you, pushing through extra damage. But if you're on Cosmicer's side, you have too many tools in your hand right now that require you to get to your turn with the unit you want to attack with. You need to enable Mastery on this Blade. You have this Unseen Longbow. You have this Fearless Crescendo. You need to have something in play that you can invest onto. And I actually like Cosmicer's Choice here to not block.
We see an Outland Sniper, the 4-cost 2/2. And deal 2 damage. That's not as good as Jack, but it does a nice little mini Jack impression of sorts.
See the Blightmoth come down, break that Aegis, and now Black Ice threatening to kill it with that Sniper that they picked up. Now if you're in Cosmicer's seat here, what do you end up doing? So you could end up playing the Longbow here, connecting with that, stealing the 3 power. Cosmicer is just going to start off with the Unseen Commando, try to diversify up their threats here a little bit, push through for 5.
Look at this play. Black Ice is going to pick up Jack, recognizing that since they have a Sigil in hand, they can just push it to deal 4 and kill both threats. That's such an efficient way to deal with the issues on the board. Really heads up by Black Ice.
Yeah, amazing play there by Black Ice, managing to realize, hey, the Bartholo is going to drop back down to a 4/4. These are 2 units that my Jack can finish off. I've managed to find a way to get this Sigil held on into my hand, and I'm going to have to use too many resources between the Choice and the Sniper. Why don't I just pick up my Jack and get rid of the Sigil? I don't really need the additional power here, and now they're really applying pressure here to Cosmicer. Is a double damage Jack with access to the Toto Pioneer is a much scarier proposition, as they're going to start this turn off with a Blazing Salvo. They end up pulling something out of their market here. They now have double activation on the Toto Pioneer. That can push Jack up to 10 strength. That'd be 17 coming over right there, but they're going to grab the Worthy Cause out of their market, get this Arc Sentry out of the way. Thanks to that, trying to carve in that sacrifice, all these units gaining +2 strength, charge, and lifesteal. And they're all going to come to town, and Cosmicer is going to fall here in game number 1, and Black Ice 1 game away from putting themselves into the finals.
Yeah, things didn't quite go according to plan for Cosmicer. I mean, getting Giant Bartholos out, kind of saw how many hoops that Black Ice had to go through to get it off the board. If you're Cosmicer, you kind of want the same thing to happen. You just see that happen on like turn 4 and turn 5, not on like turn 7 and 8.
Yeah, I thought their start was actually awesome. The Outcast into the Crown Watch Paladin, it was just a matter of not actually hitting that third power on 3, and that could have been fine, but their hand was literally a Fearless Crescendo and 5 more cards that cost 3. They just couldn't deploy another thing that applied pressure to Black Ice. All the while, Black Ice was sitting there trying to get all their influences in order. Had Cosmicer applied any amount of pressure, I think that they might have been able to then leverage those Bartholos later on in the game.
All right, so we're getting set up for game 2 here. Players are ready to go in just a moment here. Cosmicer has definitely got the tools to punch back against this Jekinations deck. We'll see what they can do here in game 2. All right, looking at these opening 7s, yeah, Cosmicer's looked pretty poor. And I think I like their next hand. It's only got the one Bartholo as a threat. Are they going to redraw again and hope to get a second threat? Nope, they're going to keep it and kind of sign themselves up to potentially putting all of their eggs in on this Bartholo.
Ooh, that's a rough hand there for Black Ice, as they're going to go to their second redraw here. And a much more functional, stable hand on Black Ice's side now. Finest Hour, maybe not the pickup Cosmicer was looking for, but can pair very well with the Master's Blade and the Bartholo, as Black Ice here picks up a Vox. So picking up a Ghost Blade Outcast here on Cosmicer's side, they have 2 different options. If you want to try to, you can Edict of Kodash plus Outcast, or you could try to play Bartholo and hope to get to the next turn, draw an undepleted power, and use that fall short on the Master's Blade. But they're just going to take the safe route here, protected their units from Vox's ability.
Vox is so great against Aegis threats. I totally agree with getting that off the board.
So Reborn Master here, the pickup from Cosmicer. I think we're most likely to see them use all of their power here and just deploy this Bartholo.
It's tricky. Cosmicer clearly has a preference for getting Bartholo down with a Finest Hour up to protect it from Blazing Salvo and Jack. But I agree with their decision that it's like you just can't wait around for that to happen, and you just get the Bartholo down this turn.
The other key thing is in Cosmicer's hand, they have good tools that if they end up drawing additional power, they also want to be able to leverage. The Spellcraft on the Master's Blade, the access to the 2 Finest Hours in their hand. If you end up choking yourself here on power this turn, not playing your Bartholo, you're going to end up choking yourself turn after turn. Cosmicer realizing that, got to take a risk here. Maybe this Bartholo might end up dying, but I need to set myself up better for the next few turns coming up after this one.
So Black Ice making a play of just getting Gentle Grazer down now, trying to maybe hit something like a Devour or Blazing Salvo, which would have turned on their Tota Pioneer. A pretty heads-up play. It only hits a Kato, though. Cosmicer got a real decision here. They could wait another turn before playing the Master's Blade when they can maybe fall short the Tota Pioneer, or we could see it just come down right now, knowing it'll give Bartholo a +2/+2 bonus and be just a turn away from mastering. And yeah, we're going to see that.
Yeah, even though many of Black Ice's units do not actually have skills, I like this play from Cosmicer. You just got to start turning the corner as Black Ice starts developing their board here now with the second Tota Pioneer. The Devour comes out.
That's the disaster scenario for Cosmicer. Black Ice hits Blazing Salvo. That's going to knock the Aegis off of Bartholo, and Banish can potentially kill Bartholo. Really rough stuff. If they had hit the power for fall short, they would have been able to kill the Tota Pioneer. That whole sequence would have been delayed another turn for Black Ice. Now Cosmicer is going to need to rebuild.
They do have the tools here. Got an Elite into a Reborn Master. See what skill gets spun up here.
This Blade Outcast gets to attack in for 2.
Is the Strange Burglar on Black Ice's side going to be enough to push them over? Cosmicer with no power available. Kyros's Choice is going to take out the Reborn Master.
Cosmicer could use a powerful card off the top here. These
Yeah,
Finest Towers, they don't quite do the job. That guy's still at 19.
A fantastic spot here. They can end up drawing another Blade. Longbow might not be too shabby. Justice Angel not quite cutting it for what Cosmicer was looking for here.
I like continuing to attack in.
Yeah, the best way that Cosmicer can try to leverage these Finest Hours is if they can get Black Ice onto the back foot. Unfortunately for them, looks like it might be tricky as we can see the Strange Burglar now coming down from Black Ice's side. Oof.
3 cards off the top thanks to Strange Burglar. Double Tota Pioneer gives Black Ice back 4 power, and with a check, another Strange Burglar, and a Banish, Black Ice is picking up phenomenal cards here. Double Strange Burglar buff means an attack in for 12. Cosmicer is down to 2 with a Jack on the other side.
Does this Unseen Longbow, can this actually make anything happen here for Cosmicer? Can they can try to suit up the Elite, the Ghostblade Outcast, and try to make a bigger lifesteal swing here? Is there too much on Black Ice's board that if you're in Cosmicer's seat that you need to pump the brakes and stop attacking? Looks like that might be the case between the Tota Pioneer and the Strange Burglar. I think that Cosmicer's actually going to have to pump the brakes here and try to play a little bit of defense. But the Unseen Skills deck, once they're playing defense, that is not where they want to be, Andrew.
Absolutely not. Double Finest Hour does potentially mean it could be a giant blocking threat, but I think Black Ice will be able to finish the game off next turn. If they jack and put damage on both of the units, that'll knock off the Aegis of Outcast Elite.
Well, better yet, given that Cosmicer has an attack now, the jack does come down, aims at the Elite, aims at the face, and Cosmicer with no way to gain a player Aegis here.
Yeah, sometimes I get a little too caught up in the value game. I guess just sending Jack at the face when your opponent's at 2 is probably the best line.
And Black Ice with Jack gonna finish off Cosmicer and advance into our finals here at the Shadow of the Spire ECQ. So we have Jekanations on the top half of the bracket. On the bottom half of our bracket of the match we're about to see now, Collector has fought their way through with Chonky Skycrag. This is your hefty, larger size units. We're seeing Jack going up to Spitflame Draconis, and then leveraging some additional pickups like Lightning Strike and the Turn to Seeds. And they're going to be fighting up against Gilead, who we watched earlier, and Gilead is, of course, on Praxis.
Yeah, Gilead took down Portage. They were our other Huru player in the top 8 last round. So that matchup, I imagine, was pretty tough for Praxis. So Gilead, we've seen them once earlier today towards the beginning of the day. Definitely seem like they know what's going on. Excited to see what happens here. We actually haven't gotten to see too much of the Chonky Skycrag deck in action, and I will be making it a personal priority for our playtesting team this week to be using Chonky as much as they can in their feedback on future cards.
Yeah, you've already gotten me to do it, and here we are. The game's ready to go. Let's get down to the battle.
All right, sounds good. All right, it is time for the second semifinal. Collector at the bottom of your screen playing Chonky Skycrag up against Gilead playing Praxis with a definite emphasis on strangers. We see 4 strangers in Gilead's hand. deploy their first one, a Magnificent Stranger, if there ever was one.
Yeah, Gilead has really put on display the strange gladiator aspect of this deck. They were just putting on an awesome display of getting their units out of range of the fire removal, and then watching how well it played in combat against a lot of the shadow decks, against a lot of the justice decks. And I think that we're going to see them put on that kind of display here yet again, as Gilead plays their third power, and here comes that strange gladiator, and that's 5 units in hand getting buffed up.
Collector is going to Wisdom of Elders and find a Torgov Ice Cap Trade and a Permafrost. 2 fantastic cards for them.
And also an fantastic thing here, pitching a Sigil, Jack finishing off these 2 strangers. But is Jack going to be able to hold up against the sheer might and extra stats now of Gilead's hand?
Interesting. Yeah. Gilead deploys Ilverit. They could have played Brilliant Supplier and gotten the Tota Pioneer bonus immediately. I think I would have liked to see them take that route, but they wanted to get some Stranger synergies going.
Yeah, it looks like Gilead actually trying to set up for an even more explosive follow-up turn here. See if they can make any magic happen, as now that Linray Stranger is in play, and if you're in Gilead's seat, this is not something that you want to try to fight against.
The Pioneer gives a little boost of power thanks to Aurelian Supplier drawing the second card in a turn for Gilead. They play another Aurelian Supplier. They won't be behind on cards. They will be ahead on units, so they would get to draw 1 card. Otherwise, they could play Magnificent Stranger. It's going to be interesting to see the Stranger synergies go back and forth here. Now, when Collector attacks with their Linray Stranger, they'll get to cost reduce something.
Yeah, and bring a dragon to the party here, as this looks like a spot where, yep, Collector's going to use this Permafrost, enable these attacks. Their Linray Stranger is going to be used against them, though. These dragons are going to be stunned if Gilead can find more strangers here. Fortunately, on Gilead's side, however, just 2 Jeks and an Aurelian Supplier here, which is only going to pick up 1 card.
Elos, a Seer, and 2 Jeks that can't play their summon at the moment. Not the greatest of options for Gilead, Corey.
Yeah, no, we're really seeing one of the big merits here of the chonky Skycrag deck. Just a lot of 5 health units getting out of range of a lot of the interaction that the fire decks bring to the table. There's a lot of Seers, there's a lot of Kairos' Choice, there's Jeks, there's Blazing Salvos, and Bitflame Draconis joins the fray, and now you're seeing just these massive units just overpowering the smaller aggressive fire units here. Quick double block being lined up in the Linray Stranger. Milo's going to be finished off there, but that's 3 dragons in the sky. And a third one now. The second Spitfire Draconis and 4th dragon overall picked up here in Collector's hand. How is Gilead going to fight back for all of this?
It's looking challenging. These Jeks with no sigils to pitch just do not do anything against these 3/3s. Even if they did, the 4/5 and the 6/7 would be far out of reach. Now, I suppose if you Jek and hit Torgov and face, could get the power back from the treasure trove via Tota Pioneer and sear the Torgov, it would kill it, and you'd just still be dead in the air.
Yes.
I honestly think Gilead's best play here is maybe to just double sear the dragons, but I'm not sure what that's buying you.
Yeah, and unfortunately for them here, second Spitflame Draconis and a snap concession from Gilead just said, I can't beat anything. I'm going to hope that you have nothing. An extra dragon, that's more than nothing. That is a game number 1 win to Collector, as they're now 1 game away from joining our finals. Looks like Gilead's got their work cut out for him here, Andrew. What do you think?
Definitely do. I mean, the biggest thing is just the sort of how consistent the Praxis deck is in sort of putting forth an imposing attacking force, you know, and the degree to which they can snowball games. Magnificent Stranger and Totem Pioneer, you can be drawing cheap cards off the top, gaining extra power, and it could just allow you to simply overpower things. Look at this. Gilead's actually got Garmaster Sandmage in this hand. This hand looks pretty weak overall, so yeah, they're going to redraw it, but that's a potential tool that can neutralize some of the text boxes of the bigger threats. The awkwardness for Gilead here, they have a Ruthless Stranger and no 1 Fire Source, but they're still going to keep it, that Magnificent Stranger on 2 ready to go.
Yeah, we see 2 Garmaster Sandmage from Gilead here this weekend. Lines up really well against the Spitflame Draconuses and the Linray Strangers that Collector has on the other side. And unfortunately for them, as you said, no way to play the Ruthless Stranger on turn number 1, but the Magnificent Stranger on turn number 2. Going to get things started off for us here.
All right, so Collector's got a couple of options here. They're just going to Permafrost the Magnificent Stranger to start, but their hand's looking quite nice with Jack, Linray Stranger, and Blazing Salvo at the ready.
Paying lots of respects there to what that Magnificent Stranger can offer in terms of power advantages for Gilead as Aurelian Supplier coming down, drawing up a Strange Gladiator and a Seer here from Gilead.
So notably, Collector had the option of Blazing Salvo the Aurelian Supplier, but they want to save some juicy targets for their Jack that they know is coming down on turn 4.
A heads-up player from Gilead, concerned of a potential Jack not actually running out the Thunder of Wings. We're just going to see them set up for the future here, buffing up the Ruthless Strangers and the 2 Jeks in their hand, and then the Stranger coming down, pumping up the Jeks one more time as the Jeks are now... This is Linray Stranger and Torgoth sized. I mean, those are 4 or 5 Jeks over there from Gilead's side.
Gilead starts drawing some sigils. 4 or 5 double damages are enough to attack through some really large things. Actually, they just threw another Jack.
Big risk there, though, on Collector's side. They just pitched their 5th power source, and they're sitting on 2 5s and a 6 in Spitflame Draconis in hand.
Cheeky attack from Aurelian Supplier here. Gilead just wants to play a Jack, and it's like, well, if you block, I can just kill it, so that makes sense. Collector recognizing what's up, doesn't bite.
With the sheer
really
amount
nice
of removal that Collector has in their deck, I'm actually interested to see Gilead still just going to run out of the Jack and risk an attack here on Collector's side getting through.
Turn to seed. Bring all of the Jacks into little seeds. You see 1 in the void, 1 in the hand, and 1 in play. A devastating swing for a Collector here. Gilead is really hurting right now. You don't have any big imposing force on the ground. You do have this Thunder of Wings they could deploy here.
Yeah, just a single power away from doing anything really fantastic with that. Unfortunately, no way to follow up with the Seer and take out the Jack, but trying to keep the aggression going here. Going to make that Dragon, try to push Collector down to 11, but the Blazing Salvo at the ready for Collector is going to take out the Dragon. Ooh, and a nice little pickup there from Collector, getting a Lightning Storm, which can take out both the Little Seed and the Aurelian Supplier here on Gilead's side.
All right, so some little seeds come down from Gilead. Meanwhile, Collector has now hit their 5th power. That means we're going to start getting Linray Strangers rolling, and that's going to be a lot for Gilead to deal with on top of all the issues they already had.
Yeah, and I think even though... Oh, interesting. Collector's still just going to go for the Lightning Storm here. My instinct was to see the Linray Stranger, given that you can use that Lightning Storm to clear the way at a later point in time, but Collector just really valuing getting these hits in with Jack, wants to find additional power and wants to ensure that they're going to be playing their Spitflame Draconis.
Hey, you got to be careful. Yeah, they're taking a hit here.
They're going to, you know, pay for it a little bit as Milos comes down. There's now a Firebomb looming in Collector's deck. Collector's deck is really good at finishing the game quickly. Like we do see, again, these 2 Linray Strangers and Spitflame Draconis, but if you want to end the game quickly, Collector, you got to get these units into play.
Collector is actually one of our past ECQ winners. They won an ECQ last year and competed in Worlds by bringing in a Legion Shimmer Pack deck. So they're trying their best right now to get back to the World Championships. They've got to finish off Gilead if they want to get to the finals, though.
And they're maybe just a couple turns away here. They just got to survive. Whatever Gilead's got left in the chamber, 3 cards in hand. And if you're in collector's seat, you've got control of the board. You've got 10 strength worth of units in play, but there's things to worry about. There's still that looming firebomb. You don't know what Gilead has in hand.
Yeah, if I'm Gilead, I'm probably going to try to give it on my firebomb outs. A lot of the players this weekend with their Blazing Salvo and their Praxis decks have a teleport here. Gilead does. I think that's the one you want to go for.
Looks like that might be what we're going to see here. Under note, we're going to see a Kalo's favor, so that's going to come down. Shoot Collector down to 8.
Gilead has moved all in on the firebomb.
Here we go.
It's a Jack Mercenary Hunter. With Gilead at 10, they lose thanks to a lethal attack from Jack and Spitflame Draconis. Collector advances to the finals of this ECQ. And our finals are set, Corey.
Yeah, at the top of the bracket, advancing through 5 opponents is Black Ice going to be playing Jekanations. And on the bottom of our bracket, we're going to have Collector and their Chonky Skycrag deck fighting for that 1 world seat.
So we are going to take a break for just a couple of minutes. Collector on their way. Next round, will they be able to make it back to Worlds? We'll find out. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back. It is finals time here at this ECQ. We have 2 players left, Black Ice and Collector. One of these players will be qualifying in just minutes to the 2020 Eternal World Championships. Before we get to the action, I wanted to tell you about the Renegade Companion app. We partner with Renegade Games on our Direwolf digital board games like Clank, and if you download the Renegade Companion app on either of them major app platforms, you get an app that'll help you play Clank, gives you some alternative modes and challenges to play while playing some of the Direwolf digital board games. So definitely check that out today, the Renegade Companion app. All right, for right now, for our finals, we are going to be watching Nations in the hand of Black Ice. It's the deck that won the last Expedition tournament, the Expedition Spring Championships. It's been a little bit tweaked and updated, banished and trying to carve it to replace some of the holes. And up against Collector on Chonky Skycrag. All right, so it's ready. It's time to go. Let's check out the finals of this ECQ. All right, Corey, we've got Collector at the top of the screen on Big Skycrag up against Black Ice. He's got a Kindling Carver to kick things off.
Yeah, 2 absolute veterans just want to get right in there and battle. No nerves here. And I like the start here from Collector. They do have some issues with their influences. This deck tends to run into that a little bit when you're trying to play triple fire, double shadow,
Black Ice?
triple time. Yes, did I say Collector? Excuse me, Black Ice's side on the destruction side. They do manage to find a chant here, though. It's going to fix up a little bit of their woes, finding Shadow here for Vox, which I think is one of their big tools in this matchup. Collector's really leveraging individual powerful threats. If Black Ice can try to leverage their Vox and spots to answer those, I think they're going to be in a good spot. But unfortunately for them, Seer from Collector here is going to end that Vox's life.
All right. Black Ice still can't deploy anything, missing that 3rd fire influence, and a great draw in the form of Wisdom of the Elders for Collector.
Yeah, this is kind of the dream scenario for Collector. You've gotten to the 4th turn, there's really nothing going on that you can slow down and try to figure out what's the best way to actually develop all of your threats into play here. Is they've now picked up a 2nd Linray Stranger, and that's going to be the first thing that hits the board here for Collector.
Fortunately, Black Ice does have the banish. It'll take out that first Linray Stranger. Another Blazing Salvo.
Yeah, 2 Blazing Salvos and just nothing to aim them at just yet.
This is sort of the danger for Black Ice playing all of this Jack and Blazing Salvo action, is that if bigger units start coming down, it really makes things tough.
Yeah, again, good in dealing damage in increments of 2, occasionally in 3s once you get a Kairos' Choice or something like that out of the market. But when it comes to just with the starting tools that you have available to you, Collectors really set themselves up in a situation where they're resilient to the Jacks, resilient to the Blazing Salvos of the world.
That guy's still missing the influence for Jack. Is going to deploy a Tota Pioneer, and we're going to see a Blazing Salvo pick up a Kairos' Choice, getting rid of the Jack. And right, this does a pretty good job of getting the Linray Stranger off the board, but Black Ice did have to use multiple cards to do it.
And now that's going to start the Jack parade, if you will, as Collector is going to fire off a Jack here, give it double damage by pitching that Sigil, drop a Treasure Trove, fire that off immediately, and get rid of Black Ice's explosive potential here by killing off that Tota Pioneer.
All right, Black Ice finds a Seed of Mystery. That's going to turn out Aramot's Machinations. They don't have too much in the Void to work with right now. A Vox and a Tota Pioneer. But they could potentially Blazing Salvo their own Kindling Carver to get that into the Void. Meanwhile, Collector is rolling along, hitting with a double damage check.
Yeah, just applying consistent pressure here, developing their hand, and now setting up here with the Seek Power for potentially another big Jack turn to follow up, should Black Ice be able to make anything happen here. And I think they're actually considering what you pointed out now, Andrew, of do I Blazing Salvo my own Kindling Carver so I can try to start drawing cards in some form or fashion, as that Permafrost is keeping that Carver out from using its ability. Just a Vox pickup here on Black Ice's side. Needs another unit to go with that, but that could be something to piece a comeback together here for Black Ice.
Yeah, it's tricky. Every turn that Jack is in play unchecked, Collector just pulls further and further ahead.
And all the while, Black Ice's health total is going down here. They're down to 15 right now, potentially going down to 11 on the following turn. Black Ice does have the tools to regain some of their health. They are playing a copy of Shrine to Carve It. They have options in their market. But really what their deck relies on to gain that health back and fight deeper into those late games is having a board. Even the Vox needs 2 units to sacrifice to gain you 4 health that way. And currently Black Ice just doesn't have any units to get anything going with.
Off spot for Black Ice, and they're just going to pass. They don't want to run out their cards and get less than full value, and they're just going to accept another turn of getting hit for 4 from Jack and a treasure trove.
Siegebreaker here picked up by Collector. If they're to run that one out, that actually would represent lethal on the turn after with that Jack in their hand. And that's what they're going to choose to do.
One of the nice things about how Black Ice built their deck was they were aware potentially of the presence of Siegebreakers in the tournament field. So they have 1 copy of Shrine to Carve It. I think that's something that a lot more players might want to look to pick up, is playing a copy of a relic, just so if your opponent plays one of these Siegebreakers and Chunky Skycrag, you've got something to grab.
Definitely. So we see Black Ice here. Aurelian Supplier has fewer cards in hand, picks up 1 draw off of it, as they do not actually have more units than their opponent. And now Vox comes down. Gonna eat up the Supplier, eat up the Kindling Carver, and that now sets up Black Ice to have a 1, a 2, and a 3 cost unit in their Void for Aramot's Machinations. Jack's gonna bite the dust. Black Ice picks up 4 more points of health, back up to 15 here. And now
Black Ice getting back into it, but is it too little too late? We're going to see a Blazing Salvo take out the Vox. Phoenix Stone showing up for Collector. The Seer. The Collector finish things off right now, Corey?
So between the Phoenix Stone, activate that, punch in for 10. That would get Black Ice down to 5. Unfortunately, it looks like Collector's just going to be 1 power short, as you can't play both Jack and Seer this turn. But Collector just going to go as wide on this board as possible, diversify their threats between Overwhelm, Flying, Double Damage. Black Ice at 1 has to answer all of these different tools and no longer can actually play this Blazing Salvo without killing themselves here.
Black Ice is running out of time here. Probably got 1 turn left. Aramot's Machinations. Bring back Aurelian Supplier, Kindling Carver, and potentially a Vox or a Tota Pioneer.
Probably the Tota Pioneer, I think. Oh, interesting. Gonna go for the Vox. This doesn't leave Black Ice with any power available, however.
Yeah, I think they have to Kindling Carver, but I don't know where that gets them. If they just use Vox, they go up to 5, but it destroys their whole board, as they would exhaust Vox and kill both blockers.
Right, and then you know that you're going to fall just to the Molten Phoenix in play in the form of the egg right now.
All right, Aurelian Supplier gets in.
He as well.
And Black Ice is looking for their way out of this one, but I think Collector is going to take down game 1 here. Collector could sacrifice either unit. They'll sacrifice the Jack. And we will see Phoenix rise once more, and a 10-point attack for Collector finishes off Black Ice in game 1.
Quick game number 1 win there for Collector, just managing to turn the corner and really punish the removal options that Black Ice showed up with this weekend. Just multiple Blazing Salvos, never actually able to deploy them from their hand. Managed to use 1 in combination with the Kairos' Choice out of the market, but just spending cards so inefficiently to try to keep up with the Linray Strangers and the Siege Breakers and the Torgovs that the Skycrag deck was able to show up with here this weekend on Collector's side. But as we saw, Vox is a really powerful tool against the Skycrag strategy. I think if we can see a better setup on the board for Black Ice in this game, they can end up taking it. They do have the tools. Let's see what they can put together here.
Black Ice had 6 power, and the only 2 fire influences were 2 destruction chance with their to go with their 1 jack. And Black Ice is going down to 6 here.
This is not a bad 6 though, all things considered.
Collector also goes down to 6.
All right, I think in terms of who this benefits, is I would rather be on the destruction side of things. Between your Kindling Carvers, your Aurelian Suppliers, you have a lot cheaper ways to gain card advantage. The issue is if the game does go long enough and you can't actually punish any stumbles on Collector's side, you will get punished heavily for it, as Collector's individual cards are still more powerful than what Black Ice is doing on individual cards.
Collector Blazing Salvos the Tota Pioneer. Get an Island's Favor to help them get their threats out.
Black Ice now double procking the Supplier here, picks up 2 cards for that. All in all, solid starts here on both sides. As Collector, this is going to be their last turn off for a while, as they've got the setup of Torgov, the Stranger, and Jack in hand. Fortunate for Black Ice, that would have been a great draw next turn. However, that banish is just going to bite the dust here, as the Kindling Carver won't be able to hold on to that one going into the next turn.
Downside of playing with purely reactive cards in your Kindling Carver deck. Alright, Collector picks up another power, and this looks like a pretty great time for Jack Mercenary Hunter.
Finish off both these units. The Shade will come back. I think... Fortunately for Black Ice, no third time influence here. So we're going to see them play this Carver, sacrifice the Shade.
Oh,
Paying the
triple time influence. Gentle Grazer is going to get discarded here.
Brutal swing.
Black Ice could run out the Vox, but it's always a little bit risky to play Vox on a turn when you can't use it immediately.
Just valuing being power efficient, potentially even trading off with the Jack here, but Black Ice going to find out the Linray Stranger looming in the wings, is that Jack's now going to push through on Black Ice's health total. Draw Collector a treasure trove. Another Kindling Carver just going to sacrifice off this Vox. Okay. Game back on, as Black Ice now has the ability to play this Gentle Grazer, will be able to ambush this Jack. It's just 1 power away from a really powerful swing with Ermot's Machinations.
Yeah, Black Ice has really set up this Machinations well if they can hit power next turn. But for right now, Gentle Grazer is going to ambush in. Brings along the Tota Pioneer.
Okay, that's actually a really great pickup, as that now actually enables Black Ice to play the Ermot's Machinations next turn. Unfortunately for them, Collector has another Jack.
Depleted power, Corey. Oh.
The C here, a brutal draw for Black Ice. They're going to have to spin something up there with Kindle Carver. The Banish is really great here. Being able to take out this Linray Stranger.
This is going to be a tight one,
17. Okay, and on Collector's side, playing those 2 Jacks and giving them double damage each time, paying for it a little bit by picking out the Spit Flame Draconis and not having the power to deploy it. Black Ice at 10 points of health. Ermot's Machinations, what can they get?
They can get Carver, a Tota Pioneer, and a Supplier. Another Machinations is en route. A little surprised they didn't get Vox, but I guess the things they haven't played as sacrifice aren't the best.
Okay, that does also find them their 3rd fire influence, should they end up needing that later on in the game.
Oh, Corey. Turn to Seed is the pickup for Collector.
Really nice pickup on Collector's side. So they're going to go after one of those Carvers.
Black Ice smartly devours.
Protecting their initial Carver here, and I see the Aurelian Supplier quickly trade off with the Jack, but this attack, if there's no block in the Torgov, that's going to push Black Ice down to 5.
Yeah, no chump blocks. Torgov gets in. Up card, discard a card. Finds a Seer.
It's kind of the danger zone here for Black Ice. It's always risky against these fire decks going down low on health, and now another Sigil picked up by Black Ice. What can they actually make of this turn?
We'll see Machinations number 2.
So this can get back the Supplier, the Vox, Kindling Carver, draw a pair of cards. Collector's at 19. Not able to push through for a big attack.
Black Ice is... Oh, Face Aegis is going to stop this Vox activation. That's pretty good.
It is, but Black Ice will still gain the 4 health. And I think that's what Black Ice is actually more interested in here, is they now have enough blockers to hold back Torgov on the ground. They're just worried about losing to the dragons in the sky. And now if you're actually in Black Ice's seat, can you start making attacks here and pressuring back onto Collector? Collector's only at 19, and you did just get a 4/4 Aurelian Supplier with chargeback from the Void. Just how many things you have to leave back if you're in Black Ice's seat? How much can you really risk here?
That's a tough moment. Black Ice is just going to pass. They're just going to leave everything back. Collector picks up a Blazing Salvo.
And had Black Ice gone for a really aggressive attack, that salvo might have just killed them. Holding back this turn may have actually paid off, as Black Ice is looking at a potentially really explosive turn next turn with Supplier into Smugglers. We see, or Stranger, excuse me. Blazing Salvo come down, picks up a Lightning Storm, and that's going to take out 3 of these units.
Collector making a huge priority on getting this board clear, reducing the amount of synergies that Black Ice has to work with.
Yeah, now if you're in Black Ice's seat, just try to double block down the Torgov in this last turn that you may have the chance to block. It looks so appealing.
What does Collector do? The Seer could represent lethal next turn. They are going to Seer to break up this double block, though. Tough decisions by both players. Aurelian Supplier could draw 1, but we're going to see actually Strange Burglar come down first.
Burglar coming down first. Pick up 2 cards here.
Just 1. They're tied on cards in hand.
Tied on cards. They'd already played a power for the turn. Good call, Andrew.
Strange Burglar really can't activate here because the 3 damage from it would make the dragon a lethal threat. Black Ice could Carver up something here, but then your blocks against Torgov are atrocious. This is super tough for Black Ice. It's not very fun. They're dying on board to the dragon. Any action they take could be really costly to them. Do they need to make a gigantic gamble here? Is that the thing that'll get them to the World Championships?
Black Ice is really wondering, can I actually hold out for 1 more turn? They know that this Burglar won't be able to activate. If they wait this turn and they don't use it, there's no chance to use it on the next turn. If they Carver this turn, however, do they have enough blockers back? Another huge pickup for Collector. It wasn't a Sigil to be able to play this Spitflame Draconis, but a Permafrost would do a similar job here. Locks at the Kindling Carver instead of the Strange Burglar, because they know that Black Ice is falling to 3 on this attack. Is this Black Ice's last draw of the tournament?
Seed of Chaos. If they use Strange Burglar, they die on the spot. Kindling Carver can't exhaust. Collector is about to be back into the World Championships. Strange Burglar, draw 3, take 3. Collector is your ECQ champion.
Back to the World Championships the 2nd time around. Previously doing it with an even Elysian Shimmer Pack out of the market sorry, no, it was just an Elysian deck playing Shimmer Pack, right? Was it even Elysians that weekend? I don't even recall anymore.
It wasn't even. No, this was old school. This was back at ECQ Homecoming in March of 2019.
A master of primal strategies. That's what Collector has become. Getting in with Elysian previously, Skycrag now. Fantastic work on their end. They really showed up with a deck prepared for this top 64 field. We saw lots of decks using Jack and Blazing Salvo and Seer and Kairos' choice, and Collector was having none of that. It's like, your removal is not lining up against my units, and you know, even when they fought tough matchups fighting up against, you know, the different justice strategies that had removal that lined up well against their threats. They managed to power through, really leveraging their, you know, their play skill and their experience on our competitive circuit here this weekend.
All right, so that's a great finish to an awesome tournament. Collector will be at World Championships this year. Congratulations to them. Congratulations to Black Ice on an awesome run. We hope we've got lots more Eternal content coming for you all in the next month. It's going to be awesome. We're all working from home, but stuff is coming fast, and I'm excited for you all to get to catch it out. So for that, I'm going to say thanks to Corey and LSV for joining me in the booth this weekend. Thanks to our amazing producer, Sam Stelter, for putting on all of these shows this month of May. We hope all of you around the world are having a safe time during this chaotic year. I want to make sure everyone in the U.S. has a great Memorial Day weekend. Enjoy it as best you can. And with that, we are going to raid one of our Eternal streamers. But for now, we're going to sign off here from Direwolf Digital. Thank you all to everyone who participated and watched this ECQ. We couldn't do this broadcast without you. You guys make it such a fun time for all of us. So hopefully you all enjoyed, and we'll see you in the queue soon. Take care.
Cheers, everybody.